Hello. Good evening. Mm, No, I was wrestling with a box lid really quickly right before this. I had written out the post, but I wanted to grab out the rule set from my box. Hello, Cliff, and hello, Legend, and hello, Nekama, and hello, Man or Astroman. Mm. I actually only know like 3 Boa songs, but I feel like that might be more than a lot of people. I know Duvet. I think that's their most famous song amongst, weeps. And then I know Double, and then there's another one, but I can't remember the name of. Mm-hmm. So tonight I wanted to play a game that I've played before, but it's been a very long time since I've played. So hopefully it's going to be a case of going to be relearning the rules tonight. From Lane, yes. I remember the first time I saw Lane. Borrowing it from a friend back when you could fit maybe 3 crunchy episodes on a disc. Yeah. Oh, Fool. I know Fool as well. You and I are both fools now. It doesn't, I mean, that's not the beat, but more of a. I vaguely remember the chorus. And if double is what I think it is, it's about. Basically being Asian but living in the West, like being second generation, and how that's difficult, essentially. Yeah. So I have here with me as well as the digital version. I have the like big box edition of Everdell, but uh, I don't have any photos of it. But I assure you, it is a very large box. Um, and open it up, and it's kind of a oh, oh, I I have to find the right way to put this all back together after finding the rules. Maybe I'll leave it the way it is. Hmm. Thankfully, the rules are only about like 2 levels deep, and also they have on top, thankfully, a little sheet on how to organize your box to make it all fit together in the end. Big box, more fun. Let me grab the sheet out. Hold on. Let me grab it. It's the Everdell Complete Collection Storage. Okay. The top layer is for the Evertree. This is, yeah, building the Evertree. You know where it's at. Yeah. Hello, real Reddit. Yeah, building the Evertree goes on top. The unbuilt one, just like the flattened Evertree. After that is a like bin for all the minis, and there are a number of different minis, meeples. After that is the rule box, or like the rule baggie. There are 2 rule books in here. Next is the accessories pile with where you put the coins and the dice and stuff. After that is the Night Weaving player boards, the Pearl Book overlays, the market board, the score pad, and the cloth pad. I should also specify that this is only like how to put this. That is one set of the layering of this big box. There's another set that is right next to it. So this section takes up maybe like 2/3 of the box, but then there's another third of the box that it's its own separate stack, which has the Pearl Book wonders and signs. And also, after that, the cards and small tokens, and then the game boards. Actually, no, the game boards are at the very, very bottom. Okay. But yeah, it's an involved box. This box is not going anywhere. It's staying here. Maybe I'll get to pull it out next time I have a in-person game. There's always new games to play. This game has been out for a couple of years. I first played it a few years ago when it was not immediately new, but probably within the first 2 years of it coming out, I played it. I think twice. Uh, it was fun, but I don't specifically remember the rules. Again, it has been a few years since then. But now that I'm seeing it, it's kind of a, oh, right, I remember the tree. The tree is kind of cute. Well, let me see if I can get a photo of it. Backlog syndrome? You have no idea. You have no idea. Yeah, having to slow down on the Kickstarters and stuff, everyone in my group has, because we have so many games between all of us, and no one can play them because gathering together was not happening. Hello, V. How are you doing? At least one of the people in my group seems to be doing things more often. I had played Oath with them, I think in November, and I won. I won. But the way Oath goes is however won last, how they won determines the win condition for a certain player in the next game. And also it changes the board a little bit. And it changes the cards a tiny bit too. So, how to put this? If we were going to be playing Oath when we met up the other day and they hadn't played the game between, it would have been the win conditions that I had set. But they had played it in between, so it was some other win conditions. I don't know which one it was. I went with the Darkest Secret. But it was really a Kingmaker game at that stage. I was I nearly won before, and they had just pulled it from me by like the skin of their teeth. For Oath is, yeah, you want to play multiple times. It is kind of a legacy game, but it's not the shitty, I hate to say like shitty legacy game where you're tearing apart things. It's like a gentler legacy in that you're simply removing cards or adding cards to the play deck and choosing certain card setups for the next game for the board, as opposed to putting stickers and literally tearing cards apart. I'm doing fine. I feel a lot better than yesterday. I'm no longer hungover. Or rather, I'm not hungover yet. Although, let's see. I'm hoping that things will be a little bit better in terms of model because I changed up my lighting setup a little bit. I have a desk lamp now, although it is a Himalayan salt lamp because that was a gift I received for the holidays, and well, it's a desk lamp. It counts. It's an interesting light source. It's an interesting light source. Looking at how it is, I have to figure out the appropriate place to put it too, and seeing how hot it runs. And also if my cat's gonna try and eat it, because if the cat's gonna try and eat it, that's a no-go. It's toxic to cats. So it's a dicey thing, but with luck, you won't be interested in it. Neither of them will be, and it will be fine. And I just have to keep the cats out of the garden when I'm not there to supervise, which is what I should be doing anyway. It's a bit of a shame too, because the person who gifted it to me has a ton of cats as well, but I don't know if they have any Himalayan salt lamps. So immediately when I saw it, it was kind of a, oh, that's not probably gonna pass. The cats are probably gonna eat it, and it was just kind of a, oh, it's a shame. Do you want me to return? Like, we can try it. We can try it. I did say I wanted a desk lamp. I did say I wanted a desk lamp. I was looking at getting a ring lamp, but at the same time, it's kind of a, I don't have the space for that right now. And I have a rather large table to use here. I have a proper counter here to work off of. Upstanding. I was upstanding yesterday too. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. I just wanted to lay around hungover. I just wanted to lay around hungover. Okay. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Oh, I was gonna grab out images of Everdell to give you guys an idea of how the board looks in person. Let's do a quick Google search. Actually, can I bring it up? Can I bring it up? What is this gonna look like? What is this gonna look like? Oh, it doesn't recognize it. Okay, this is good. I suppose the question now is just what shows up. Yeah, okay. This looks kind of awful, but at the same time, we're gonna live with it for a second. Maybe. If I just move to the side. Actually, yeah. And I move this over here. And maybe turn off a filter or two. Yeah. You can see here. When I said build the tree, I meant you build the tree. You build a tree. And the levels actually mean things too in the game. The levels mean things. It's like a tiny bit of a... It's a little bit of a gimmick, but it's not a bad looking gimmick. And it's not like a horrific gimmick either. Oh, and I guess the entire thing kind of looks like a palette too. The design of the board. It is another woodland critter game, but it is far less murderous than Rude is. Rude is about conflict. This is about creating a chill little society. You are working against other people, but you're not having direct conflict with them as far as I remember. You just happen to be in indirect competition with them. Here's another one. Real quick checking. Just making sure that with the addition that I have, that it is not like they give you an upgraded tree, because you know sometimes in games they have, you could have the regular minis like the wooden ones or plastic, or you could have the deluxe metal ones. Do you want punch out cardboard coins, or do you want the nice clicky clack coins? So it's a case of, for the big box, were they able to upsell us on, do you want like a big fancy tree instead of the cardboard one? But it doesn't look like that, so just the one edition. Same thing I think with one thing that hasn't been able to come out because it's way too annoying to bring anywhere. What is it? Let me make sure of the name before I say what it is. It is a game with an absolutely huge board mini, if that makes sense. I don't think you have to play on the board mini, but damn, it looks cool if you do. Okay. Let me see. I think... Okay, this is a good picture. I will grab this one. Cthulhu Death May Die. With the baby. Sorry, we have a photo here of the... It's a mini that's also kind of a board you can work on for the game. It's not the kind of thing that you're toting around to someone else's house to play. This is something that has to be played in the owner's house. Yeah, baby for size comparison. Not my child. Not my photo. I guess there are other people who have photos with it, but like... Yeah. Like, this is a gimmick. It's a really expensive gimmick. It's a really expensive gimmick. But at the same time, it's really cool. Maybe not something you want to own, but maybe you want a friend to own it. Like a boat. You don't want to have to deal with it, but sure be fun to try out once or twice. Hello, Jordan. How are you doing? Warhammer. Oh, thank you for the follow, Scarlet Wakagashira. 150 for the mini? Or, well, I shouldn't call this a mini, for the mega, I guess. It honestly doesn't seem so bad. I feel like I've probably bought, like, more expensive. Okay, maybe not more expensive minis. Megas, whatever you want to call it. It is a really big piece of plastic. But also, I've never bought a Warhammer figure, so I don't know how they run. I've mostly just bought bones. Lots and lots of bones. Your friend has that? Have you gotten to play with it? Is it painted? Is it? I don't remember if it comes put together or not, or if it's assembly. What's the phrase? Like, not just batteries not included, some assembly required? What do you mean it's too much? What do you mean it's too much? I need to paint it. Actually, I guess if you're gonna use it as a board, do you paint it, or is that gonna end up too rough on it? I guess you seal it after painting. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a ton of things I need to paint. At least for some of them. Just thinking, the metal ones, more than half a car payment? How much is a car payment? How much is a car payment? Thinking. Like... I've spent more than that. I've spent more than that on board game Kickstarters. Not on a single thing, as far as I can think of, because Bones doesn't get that. Bones doesn't get up to $150 for its bits, does it? Let me check the Kickstarters. What do you mean if I have to think about it? What do you mean? I think I spent actually maybe around that much for the Tonto one. But again, that was like a bunch of things. The lunchbox isn't great. I think I ended up donating that because the lunchbox had a misprint and it was not like a really great bento. I have better ones. But yeah, I don't think in like Bones that they've had anything that expensive in their minis. Half of every paycheck? That might be a bit much. That might be a bit much. Since games haven't been able to pull out games to play, I've not been doing nearly that many. I haven't been donating my paycheck to Kickstarter. I'm looking at some of the other stuff on Bones, and it's kind of oh, they added this, this, and this. Which Bones was this anyway? This is the original Bones. Okay. Yeah. Plus $10, plus $10, plus $5. That was all really cheap. It was really cheap. Almost feels like it was a mistake to make some of these things like, hey, it's only $10 to include like both Frost Giants. Or $25 for like five orcs. Do they have other ones? Not available, 9 created. Okay, so they have Escape from Pizza Dungeon, Tales from the Green Griffin. Okay. Interesting tabletop that I've backed. Let me log in really quickly and see what I've done. Because like right now, all I can really think of is Tonto. Because that was the one that came with the most amount of stuff. I did a couple Bones. What else? I backed Dynamite Nurse. That one I've not actually gotten to play. It's been a very long time since I've backed Dynamite Nurse, and I still haven't gotten a chance. I don't really know if that one did very well, though. Outside of... Probably outside of niche circles. And there's also Santorini. That one was fun, and that one's actually gotten quite a bit of play, I think. Because it's child-friendly. It's child-friendly. Santorini is very cute. Let me see if I can get a photo of that up. I can also... I feel like, can I get a photo of Dynamite Nurse up? Dynamite Nurse might be... It's probably Twitch safe. Okay, Santorini board game. I should look up board game Santorini. So Santorini, really cute, themed after the islands. It's a pretty simple board game. Again, it's easy to play with young children. And it's pretty. And it's cute, as you can see by the characters. And you can add a lot of variety in different cards that you can play from. Yeah. I actually don't have this box art. I have the Kickstarter one, which looks more elegant. I wonder if they have a photo of the Kickstarter variant on here. I have this variant instead, which in hindsight was like maybe not a great idea because it gets dirty. It gets dirty. I brought it I brought it on vacation with me to play with my family to entice them, and they liked it, but again, like, it got a little scuffed in the process. That actually reminds me, I also have Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters board games, because that's another one that has a white cover, which again, like, pretty if it stays clean. If it stays clean. And also my family did not understand how to play it very well. Like, it's a co-op, we're helping you as much as we can. How could you not get it? Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Dynamite Nurse. Board game. Yeah, Dynamite Nurse. It's the same type of thing as Tanto in terms of content, except different theme, and also it's much more, I think, PvP, but again, I haven't actually gotten to play it. I have the Kickstarter edition. I think I might even have, I don't remember if I got any of the mats for it or not. You've seen it before in passing. Yeah, I feel like I do have some players at my table who would play it with me. I just haven't. I usually play in a public space, and I don't want to bring this there. I don't want to bring it there. And when we play in private spaces, we usually pick games that are longer than this. Alrighty. No, I don't actually watch a whole lot of like D&D Let's Plays from other people, honestly. I'd rather play myself often. Not that I've actually played D&D in a couple of months. My last campaign ended in August or September, I think, for D&D. Last other game ended October, maybe, I think. And then holidays. Holidays make it difficult in general. I used to watch some like D&D games get played, but oftentimes it was just a little bit frustrating. Withdrawal? Sometimes it's nice to take a break. It's given me a chance to read and get inspired about other things. And also there might be a game coming up that I might be playing in soon. We'll see where that goes. I think it's going to be really fun when it happens, for me. I think it will end up being streamed. I just don't know how much of it is planned out, or for when. And I want to say it might also be a case of you might not see it coming. But I don't necessarily know if, I guess like D&D is fine. Beer and pretzels. I'd rather, I think, try out other games, other systems. And I did actually play a solo game. I say solo, but I played it with chat a little under a month ago for my model debut. We played, I believe it was Food Truck at the Garden of Eden. No, not Garden of Eden. Garden of Earthly Delights. Food Truck at the Garden of Earthly Delights, which is basically we were solo playing, developing a food truck that was serving things in various weird Hieronymus Bosch? Is that how it's pronounced? Hieronymus Bosch locations. So we ended up serving Mm, I'm trying to remember some of the things I have it written down. I remember serving like oysters, I think, and maybe it may have been Rocky Mountain oysters. To nymphs wearing intestines for clothes. There's a spider web location. Um, I also remember there was a place that kind of reminded me of hell, and we ended up serving them like ice cream mochi. There's a lot of weird stuff that went on there. There's a lot of weird stuff. It was a fun solo game with Jet. It was what's the phrase? A lot of solo games are very like introspective and kind of downers, but this one was not a downer. Or rather, you can make it as much of a downer as you want to, but otherwise you can come up with some really crazy things. Like what we did. It's kind of hard to not go a little strange when one of the options for the theme of the location that you're serving at is flesh. I used to have a group that I played D&D with a lot. Like every Tuesday I would play, which would be why Tuesday used to be off the schedule in the hopes that one day we'll get the gang back together. But it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. The game's been dead for over a year now. I don't think it's coming back. Dream tabletop game, if I could make one, like tabletop RPG or board games too, because it'd be a little different. It'll be a little different. Start playing? What is start playing? Yeah, I used to run a little under a year ago. Was my last session of DMing a game of 5e. I did actually run that game in a different system for one session, I think, because it kind of called for it. I ran it was a one shot of everyone is John, because it was a winter special and we had two players who were uh playing twins in the current game, and I figured because we had discussed beforehand that like do they have the same elven soul or not, that they would play the same character, John, one of their past lives, and go through that. So that was kind of fun. They ended up being a bomber. It was something. It was because I was the GM. I was the GM. One player couldn't make it because it was the holidays, so winter special time. I don't think that I may have not skipped. I may have had to cancel like once or twice over the course of 2 years, I think. But more often than not, someone would say that they wouldn't be able to make it, and it was kind of a, oh, okay, one shot time. We'll explore something in the world's past or do something else I guess always in the world's past. I never made it in the future, I don't think. And it had ramifications in the current game, whether or not they knew it. Okay, so it's just a sign up spot. It's not like it has an actual tabletop associated with it, like Roll20. Okay. Okay. I have never actually had to. The only games I've played online have been through Discords, pretty much. Like existing communities starting up a group to play D&D or other things, and then getting invited by other players into other games, not necessarily with that community, but with their own friends. So I've done that. And that is actually the only time that I've played a game. Well, yeah, I guess that's the only time I played a game that had a majority female table. Through that sort of invitation, where the GM was specifically trying to organize a mostly female table. Yeah, I think we had, let's see, there was me, the DM's wife, another friend of theirs. Yeah, so out of like 6 players, 4 were women. I think that's pretty much the only way that happens. Never actually played an all-female group. I meant to actually run one in August, I think, but there was a scheduling mishap, and I ended up freaking out and canceling it because I could not reschedule it in a time frame where it felt like it made sense. It was a game that was meant for summer, and it was no longer going to be summer. Everyone was already moving on to pumpkin spice. But for a game, like a dream game, I don't necessarily know if I have one. It's more so... I'm a somewhat indecisive person. Like, I think I've said this before. My favorite season is whatever is coming up next. So I may describe something as a dream game, but I don't know how long that would last. I very much like the concept of Scion. I like the world of the first one. I didn't like the writing of the first book. That was a fun world, a fun concept. I don't know if I could think of a dream game. I just know that there are a couple games that I would like to play. They seem very, very fun. There's Golden Sky Stories. I'd like to be a part of that at some point, even if I have to run it myself, which is likely how it would end up being. I would have to run it myself. Golden Sky Stories is like a tabletop game from Japan where it's a quiet, idyllic sort of life, and you are playing as a animal girl or boy, I suppose. But all the examples I think were girls. So you could be a cat spirit or a fox spirit or a bird spirit, things like that. And it was sort of set in the 80s, I think. The feeling that like technology isn't a burden or anything like that on the players. And you're solving like very small town issues, like running into a boy who is crying because he was just teased about him showing too much affection to his female friend. So like smoothing that over because now she thinks he hates her, blah, 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 blah. Like very small, cute problems. That's kind of what the game is meant for. There are some other books I have downstairs too that I haven't run yet. Hello, Q. How are you doing? I'd also like to get an actual full game of Maiden, because I've only ever played one session in what was going to end up probably being like a mini game. But it petered out. It petered out. Monhun World? Is there an event or something going on right now? It feels like everything is doing a New Year's event. In fact, actually, hold on a second. I want to check something. Just checking that like 14's New Year's event hasn't started. I feel like it may have actually though. It's 2023. Heaven's Turn starts. Oh, it already started. Okay, well, I guess I know what I'm doing tonight after stream. I'm going to try and complete my Heaven's Turn stuff. That's fair, that's fair. I've never actually played any of the Monster Hunter games. The closest I've gotten has been the Final Fantasy XIV in-game trial for it with Rathalos. With our Rathalos. Oh, and I have a giant stuffed cat from it. Melinx. He's really cute. I think I have posted a photo of him on Twitter before. I'm not a fast typer. Let's see. Should probably start the game. I'm gonna close this up. I'm going to pop up game. I haven't done this a long time. What is fast? I've probably lost a lot of speed in typing. I probably used to be much quicker than I currently am. Okay. I think think this is going to be it. Yep, okay. Let me change the audio to the game music instead of this. I might change the game music depending on how repetitive it is. You never learned how to use home row? I suppose, how do your wrists feel? How do your wrists feel? I feel like that would be a bigger issue for not learning how to type properly. Getting into bad habits. I'm trying to think about things with typing, actually. More so, there's always Dvorak, right? Is that how it's pronounced? I do know someone who used that style keyboard instead, and when if people didn't lock their computers, he would go around and swap them. Swap the keyboard to Dvorak to fuck with other people. I learned to lock things after that. No, it's not Elven. No. Dvorak is just... It is something else. Is that how it's actually pronounced? I don't actually know how it's pronounced. Elven loanword? No, it's neither. Okay. Let me get the audio up. It's pronounced Vorak. Thanks. Thanks so much. That enlightened me. It's pronounced Vorak. Of course. It'd be fun to learn shorthand. I want to say calligraphy is probably a bit more of an elven thing. There is a Tropa. She's another elf, and she does calligraphy as well. Not that I've done calligraphy on stream, but I've done calligraphy in the past. It's a nice, pretty game. And let me just double check something. I'm grabbing out my rule book. You must know who that is. Atropa. She is living the elf life. Hardcore. She's not from my village. She's not from my village. No, she is simply someone I know of. Yeah, Atropa. Let me... Is it weird to like shout her out? It probably is kind of weird. I think this is her. Let me check. Tropa Everwood. If I just looked it up on Twitch. Is this hers? Yep, it is. Okay. But yeah, she had a whole thing about living the elf life. She plays the harp, she does calligraphy, she makes her own mead, she goes bow hunting barefoot in the woods. She is far more of a classic elf than I am. Okay, like, I'm not gonna go shooting a bow in the woods. Like, barefoot in the woods, sure. Carefully. I'll drink the mead. I'll drink the mead. I'm a wimpy. Again, I don't belong in the woods. I don't belong in the woods. Not all elves are meant for the woods. What about you? Humans. Are you happy where you are in your cities? Aren't you comfy too? Yeah, some people do have that kind of air about them. Okay, learn the basics of how we're going to be learning the basics. That's fair, you are a virus. But again, we're not going to be finding you exactly in the woods, are we, as a virus? People blowing up fireworks on the 3rd of Jan. It's only the 3rd. That is fair. Yeah, so they're still doing fireworks? That's unfortunate for you. That's unfortunate. You are in my computer. So you are in the city. You are in the city. Okay, this actually just kind of... The perspective really tripped me out for a second. Welcome to the wondrous world of Everdell. Underneath the shelter of the towering Evertree, a land of mossy hollows and meandering streams is yours to discover. I feel like maybe I should have a little bit more of a peppy voice for this, because she looks real cute with her pink hat and pink bandana, I suppose? Okay. Today you will learn how to harvest resources, build buildings, and recruit critters to your city. Scarf? Scarf is a good word. You start the game with 2 workers. They can be used to visit paw-print locations on the board that allow you to collect resources and rewards. Oh wow, they went... sorry, looking at the way that they went with this reminds me again of Root. I hate making this comparison, but... Wait a second, that's right. Real quick checking. I think that the people who made this also made the digital version of Root, so my comparisons would be apt. Let me just double check though. I'm gonna check on... Is it Steam? Check on Steam real quick. Cute little... Okay, Direwolf is the developer and publisher. And they also did Root. Okay. And they also did the Munchkin digital card game. And a couple of other things too, but now I feel a lot better making my comparisons because the modeling would be, I don't want to say similar, but not going with a flat design. Yeah, Munchkin. Munchkin tabletop. I'm not going to play it probably. I've not played Munchkin in probably literally a decade, and I'll keep it that way. If my incident with Moonraker and the way that people describe Moonraker and Munchkin together, I'll pass on playing Munchkin. Yeah. Munchkin is an early access game. Release date was December 1st, 2022. It looks interestingly animated. But yeah, Munchkin tabletop. Oh, there was a watering. I missed the watering. I'm sorry. It was 16 minutes ago. I'm gonna water. Okay. Well, today's tea is the throat licorice. I need to do some singing practice after this. 11? No, that's not happening. I don't honestly know if it was exactly a decade ago, but I have a memory of when I played it. And I think it was that long ago. So workers are like little squirrels in this case. On your turn, you'll perform one of 3 possible actions. Place a worker, play a critter or construction, prepare for a season. Send your workers to harvest twigs by dragging them to the highlighted location. Oh, we're actually picking up the squirrel! Actually, can we like shake him? No, we can't. No more word band? Did I remove that? let me check. I may have... Oh, I may have removed it because I know why. I don't exactly have outfits prepared. I do have the trash can though. You're gonna put me in the trash for not being able to keep the band's word off. Okay, let me drop him off. Okay, so it's a little bit finicky. You can track the resources you have gained here. Oh, ow. Actually, the audio didn't play for that, did it? Did I set something a little strange? Oh, okay. That's what I did. That was my cat, and I didn't set the timer appropriately for this, or it's not linked. What is the word? No. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. When I first downloaded a certain thing, I set up like a fancy timer for a word ban, and it is not working anymore, and I don't know why. It also had that little noise of my cat to remind me, like, hey, pay attention. 5 seconds, or not 5 seconds, 5 minutes starts in like 10 seconds. Keep on your toes. What happens? Okay, so that works. Oh, I don't have the overlay on here? Wait, let me check. That's not it. Give me 1 second. Before I start the timer, I want to see why it's not doing this. Because I don't have it on here? Did I? Okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to live with it. So the word is the word right before the fail reset. Okay. Actually, I don't have a timer anymore. I used to use my phone for that, but I can't use that now, so... A timer has been set. It will hopefully go off and I can hear it in about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes. You can track the resources you have gained here. The twigs you gained will help build a farm. Hold your mouse over the farm card to examine it. To play a card, you need to spend the resources shown in its cost. Watch stream up time? I'm not counting that. The twigs that you collected on your last action will help, but it looks like you still need to collect a resin. So, yeah. Resource collection by dropping workers. Worker placement. It's a worker placement game. Send a worker to harvest resin. The noises too. Really nice shiny noise. Now that you have the necessary resources to construct the farm, drag it to your city area to build it. When you play a farm, it adds 1 berry to your resources. The farm is also worth a point. In a typical game, the player with the most victory points at the end of the game is the winner. And shiny tea. It's resin. It's resin. The game ends after players have played through all 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. Now that our workers are all deployed and there are no cards left in hand we want to play, we will prepare for the next season. I feel like if you know what you're doing, it is a not super short game, but it's on the shorter side. Unlike some other games. Preparing for a season recalls your workers for use in the next season. You also gain the next season's rewards. I want to say, does anyone else get viticulture vibes a little bit with this? In spring, you gain 1 new worker and also activate the production cards in your city, like the farm. Prepare for spring now to recall your workers from the board. Gain an additional worker, and activate your farm to gain 1 berry. I don't know what colophony is. What is that? Like, literally wood? They would not be able to touch wood? It's not the strangest thing I've ever heard someone being allergic to, but that takes a lot of materials out of your life, but at least there's always metal and plastic. Paper. That would have been tough. Nah. Just notebooks. Notebooks are completely out then. Bamboo? Bamboo doesn't count as wood then? That's interesting. That's interesting. Bamboo not triggering it. But I guess it's a bit of a case of the same situation with some milks. Some people who are allergic to cow's milk, but they're fine with goat's milk. That sort of thing. Bamboo is grass? Is it really grass? I don't really think about bamboo a lot because it's not something I want to think about, if that makes sense. I don't want to deal with bamboo. I do not want that in my garden. Evergreen perennial flowering plants. In the grass family, you are correct. They are grass. Wow. Okay. Dang. Oh, actually, you know what? It makes sense with the way that their root structure is, I bet. That explains a lot. Okay, when I think about it that way, I was thinking more of the material it's made out of. Yeah, they are invasive. You do not want bamboo in your yard. You don't want bamboo in your neighbor's yard. Collector's edition manga, pristine. No human or inhuman oils have touched it directly. It's all on gloves. All in gloves. Ah, the budding blossoms of spring. What a wonderful season to make some new friends. With those berries our farm grew, we have enough resources to play the barge toad in our hand. Barge toad? Gain 2 twigs for each farm in your city. See? He's a cute little guy too. Maybe I shouldn't say cute. He reminds me of the captain from Animal Crossing. Yeah, if it's in your neighbor's yard, it will be, yeah, that's why you don't want your neighbors to have it. Or ivy, well, ivy, you can try and cut back, but I know it's gonna eventually come into the yard if I'm not careful. My neighbors have ivy. Mint too. There's a lot of things that are invasive. I learned today actually about iguanas. Invasive iguanas. I know someone who just came back from visiting other folks, and she talked about how where her family is from, everyone carries a BB gun to shoot iguanas because they're invasive in the area. And if it gets too cold, the iguanas just kind of stop. They don't die, they just kind of freeze. And they'll drop out of trees. Just plop. Because they stopped. Lots of iguanas, lots of having to kill iguanas because of their invasive nature in this particular area. It was just sort of, and she even showed me a photo of one of the iguanas just having fallen out of a tree. This was a big boy. His body must have been as big as both my hands. One, I don't want to say on top of each other because it doesn't quite make sense, but fingertip to palm ends twice over. And that was just the body. And then you have the tail. He was a big boy. He was a big boy. And he wasn't even the biggest one that she had seen. I don't want that in my garden either. I don't want that in my garden either. But I didn't realize that iguanas were also an invasive species in some places. It never quite occurred to me. I'd heard about boars. Boars being invasive. Also apparently boa constrictors. Same issue as the iguanas. Except even worse, because sometimes they grow large enough to eat alligators. Bamboo and urban fauna are like eldritch mind flayers, taking control and bending the minds. Maybe? You might also consider a lot of grafted plants to be similar, because that is actually a bit more direct of the comparison. This was actually something that came up in a place I was reading earlier. Someone had a lemon tree, And there was another lemon tree that was growing close by recently, and they finally got fruit from it. The fruit doesn't look anything the same because of two potential reasons from this neighboring lemon plant. One, lemon doesn't grow... think of lemons and apples and things like that as a bit like humans, where the children look different from the parent. And they're always like that. If you grow something from seed, it's not going to be the same as its parent. If you cut a piece of the parent off and graft it onto an existing rootstock, you're going to end up with a clone of the parent. So that's how they propagate. That's why bananas also had that sort of issue of like being a monoculture that got wiped out. Apples too could have that issue of monoculture due to grafting. So this lemon tree had an issue of either being, one, this was basically the rootstock growing into its own plant, in which case it'll look nothing like the grafted plant parent, so to speak, or it was just a random seed that sprouted and grew, in which case, again, it's nothing going to be like the one next to it. I don't know if they have figured out what it was in this case of this lemon, just that it was a very happy accident because it apparently was a pretty good fruit that they got out of it. This is also an issue with apples where people think that they can grow an apple from seed and it'll be nice, it'll be a red delicious. You're gonna end up with a crab apple, probably. That's not gonna be a good apple. But, sorry, I was talking about grafting. So I think grafting fruit trees or other trees would probably be a similar issue as the Eldritch Mind Flayers, because you're literally taking one plant, cutting off the top just to use it for roots, and then placing another plant on top of it. I guess it's more of a Frankenstein, really, because you could actually put on like 3 or 4 different types of fruit onto one rootstock if you wanted to. You could have a lemon and a lime tree. And an orange tree, I guess? There's like 4 different fruits in the same family that you could do this with. So you'd have your own little mini citrus tree. Legit. You can have your Meyer lemons and your key limes, as long as your area supports it. Okay, barge toad. Gain 2 twigs for each farm in your city. Right. Barge toad is a critter. Critters are paid for with berries. Your buildings, constructions require some combination of twigs, resin, or pebbles. Barge toad is also common. You can have any number of common cards with the same name in your city. So you can have multiple barge toads. You have a card in your hand that will reward you for collecting common critters. Hold your mouse over the school. Oh, I didn't mean to. The school is a prosperity card. The prosperity effect occurs at the end of the game, often giving you extra victory points for collecting certain types of cards. So in this case, it's a school. It takes 2 twigs, 2 resin. What about the teacher in the corner? Oh, although we're gonna learn what it has to do with it. It might be that the teacher needs the school. So 1 point for each common critter in your city. Use a worker to collect resin again to help pay for your school. I just want to... I want physics on the squirrel. I want to swing him back and forth. Okay. Paying for it. All constructions have a specific critter that can be played for free once they have been built in your city. For the school, that's teacher. So you get a free teacher once you build the school. If only that worked in real life. What is the reading? Also, the timer ended. The timer ended. I didn't hear it, but I see it. Okay, let me play. I'm reading this thing. I have to figure out how to pronounce this word. Ah, 2 words. Oh, man. 2 words. Bambusoidea? Bambusoidea. Bambusoidea? Orizoidian. 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 I've been trying, not practicing on purpose tongue twisters, but practicing a song that's kind of a tongue twister for me. So, Orizoidian. Okay, let's try this then. Actually, wait, I'm gonna do something really good. Within your own yard, there will be no pain, no hurt if you submit. You might want to lower the volume. Silence, mortal! You have invoked bamboo within your own yard. There will be no pain, no hurt if you submit your entirety to Bambusoidea. Every Orizoidian shall become one true, as sure as you yourself shall trim anew. Oh! What do you mean I cut out? I did mute myself temporarily so I could practice. I hope you got that. I hope that came out okay. It's cool. Flipping. Second one. Oh, the first one, yeah, was completely muted. I was doing that as a practice. You could see the mouth flaps, but you couldn't hear me. That was on purpose. I wanted to make sure I could do the voice a bit more booming than normal. I don't have a reverb. Or rather, I have a reverb filter, but I didn't find any settings that I liked, so I figured I should do without it, especially for karaoke. I don't know. Fuck it by having the reverb on to the wrong person. I couldn't find one that I really liked. And there are ways you can end that. You could add that in post, can't you? Double the audio source. I want to say I don't know if I know how to do it. I don't know. Aside from, I guess, just copying and pasting, but that might still be a little awkward on the fly. So we get a free teacher. A free teacher. Luckily for you, the teacher happens to be the last card in your hand. Drag it to your city to play for free. This is a... Oh, there's a little link. Luckily for you, the teacher happens to be the last card. We are confirming our free play. Your school is now considered occupied, which means you won't be able to play any other teachers for free. Okay, so that's what the little symbol means. Little hobbit hole. Well, that's enough learning for the day. Take a breather and we'll see you soon for your next lesson. Excellent. I think that's really all that there is to this. Unless there's a second section of tutorial here. Okay. Oh, so we have a tutorial challenge mode. Okay. First player is dealt 5 cards, and each player after them will be dealt 1 more than the last. I vaguely remember that. Having different cards depending on what place you were in order. 3 forest locations are added to the board as well. 4 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 player games. These locations vary from game to game and are typically the most lucrative locations to send your workers. I also remember there being an issue of if they're occupied. If there are no spaces to put them, you can't put them down. Sheldon took the first move, placing his worker on the 2 resin, 1 twig area. The 2 resin, 1 twig space has a paw print icon. This means it's an exclusive location which can only be occupied by 1 worker at a time. Locations with the paw print icon are considered shared and do not have this restriction. Oh, it's a closed paw print versus an open paw print. I actually missed that distinction earlier. Okay. More so, I guess if they're in the wood, that is considered closed. Because it makes a full circle. No, because it's a worker placement. It doesn't quite work like that. We only also get two workers. Unless there's some shenanigans, which is always possible. But I think the base is only 2 workers. Let's visit the 3-berry forest location below him. Oh wait! You saw him, he was waving. He was waving at me. My poor sweet little squirrel boy. I wish there was like a pet. Although I guess that feels a little demeaning because he's actually a sentient creature. Sent to work for me. Oh, what a haul! That's 2 more berries than the basic location provides. I don't think I'm covering... Yeah, I'm not covering up anything like super important if I'm over here. I feel like if I make this full screen, I would end up covering stuff that would not be a good idea. You have enough berries to attract a wanderer to your city. The wanderer is a traveler card, which means its ability only happens once right when it's played, so it's a one-time card. But I guess he still takes up space in your city. Sentience is strange. Sentience is strange. All little creatures on this mud ball. So, it does not take up a space in our city, this particular critter. He's a lookout. And he lets us draw 3. The Wanderer will let you draw 3 cards. Even better, it doesn't take up space in your city. Normally, you may only have 15 cards in your city, but the Wanderer breaks that rule. Play the Wanderer to your city to use its ability. Your hand is now at the 8-card limit. You won't be able to draw more cards until you play or discard some of them from your hand. How much should he cost? I wish I could click. Click, click. Oh shit. It's a little too much. You may have noticed that some resources are easier to gain than others. Pebbles are typically the hardest to gather, while twigs are much easier. Some locations and abilities will let you choose whatever resource you want. Visit the Haven location to convert cards from your hand into resources of your choice. Actually, can I see the cards? It won't let me look at the cards. That kind of sucks. So we have another farm over here. Well, we have a harvester. He's not a farm. However, so we had the teacher before that we got to play for free because we had the school. The harvester and the gatherer are the same. They can be played for free once onto the farm. And you can see it over here in the corner. Harvester, gatherer. Yeah. Okay, it's a little funky with the position that they has to be in. Choose a card to discard. Drag each card in your hand to the discard area to discard them all. You'll get 1 resource of your choice for every 2 cards discarded. 2 cards. Okay. Kind of sucks. Do we really have to discard them all? Do we really have to discard them all? I guess. Okay, so here we have the castle. 2 twigs, 3 resin, 3 pebbles. That's an expensive card. It's 4 victory points, though. So you get 1 point for each common construction in your city, and you get to play the king for free. We have the farm. Or rather, gatherer. I'm actually going to do the farm next. So it's a gain a berry. And again, this happens every season. You gain a berry. What? Oh, I have to put them exactly there. The gatherer shares a space with the harvester. Again, it's breaking the 15 card rule for your town, I suppose. And it's 3 points if paired with a harvester. Let's put them over here. And the harvester. Gain a resource of your choice if paired with a gatherer, and you have at least one farm in your city. Alright, they each have little cute quotes on the bottom. Nothing better than mushrooms and green sprout. We already have the school teacher, which was a draw two, keep one, and give the other to an opponent. University. A closed space on a card in our area. Discard a critter or construction from your city. Gain resources equal to that card's cost, then gain one resource of your choice, and gain one victory point. Gain a resin. Pretty easy. And gain a pebble from the mine. So we're really gonna discard everything? So one twig, one resin, and 2 pebbles. Emphasis on the rarest one, but a nice variety. Yeah, but we spent an entire turn ditching our entire hand. Sheldon has prepared for spring, but you are still in winter. It may sound strange, but different players can actually be in different seasons at once. Yeah, so everyone has to complete the game for the game to end. At the same time, you advance at different times. Just because you don't have any cards in hand doesn't mean you can't keep playing cards to your city. The meadow provides you another source of cards. The meadow. Sheldon is Australian? Maybe New Zealandish? Is that... what is the nomenclature for someone from New Zealand? New Zealand? Oh, they're called Kiwis, aren't they? Actually. Is there another word that's not Kiwi for them, though? Because Kiwi's a bit more informal, isn't it? All players have access to the 8 cards in the meadow, as if those cards were in hand. New Newlander? You have another bird? Wait, you are named after another bird? New Zealander? Okay, so they're New Zealanders. I feel like, to be Australian, you probably wouldn't be a turtle. Probably not. So, as if they were in hands. There are quite a few new card types, also known as colors, in this meadow. Let's review how each one works. A bird that's as iconic as the kiwi, it's green? I don't... I'm gonna show my ignorance here. Once upon a time, I thought that New Zealand was actually north of Australia. I would not have been able to find it on a map. But I've been rid of that notion for at least 5 years now. At least 5 years. At least 5 years. I know where New Zealand... I can point out New Zealand on a map now. What? What? It wasn't a major focus of the education I received. It wasn't a major focus. I want to say there were 2 maps that I was not focused on exactly. 2 maps that I was taught. One of them was kind of an indirect thing. It wasn't like officially taught. It was just hanging up in my family home. The old country was not Florida. The old country is not Florida. Shopkeeper is a governance card. Unlike Wanderers... Is that Wanderers? Wanderers and... I don't remember the one. Green. Unlike these 2 symbols, a scroll card doesn't do anything right when played. Instead, it grants a bonus whenever a specific condition is met. Gain a berry after you play a critter. There was also that one game that was every day they would pick a new country and you had to guess what the country was based on the outline, right? And you would get hints as to how far away you were from what it was. I wasn't the worst at that game, but also it chose some really, like, very tiny things. Some very, very obscure things that were nearly impossible to guess unless you... I don't want to say if you cheated, but unless you absolutely scoured Google Maps. But some were easy. Some were pretty easy. I haven't played that in almost a year, I think, now, actually. And the same thing with Wordle. I wasn't the worst at that, but then again, Wordle's Wordle. After you play Critter, you gain a berry from the shopkeeper. With your country getting eaten by another one. Yeah, out-of-date maps can make things a little funny. Out-of-date maps can certainly make things a little funny. I want to say I think my family's map of the old country was also probably, I don't want to say jaded is not the right word. Gilded is probably a good word for it, actually. Gilded. A wish for a certain time that no longer exists. Or maybe I shouldn't exactly say that. A hope for the future, I think. You're only claiming half your country? Well, it's solved now, right? And more maps are being printed with the correct information now? Hopefully? You have agency over your own self? A certain time that no longer exists. It's kind of a weird situation in the old country. Timey-wimey. Timey-wimey stuff. In the case of the shopkeeper, you gain a berry whenever you play a critter. Now let's look at the destination card. Destination cards offer you new locations to send workers. Ah, so this is the one with the symbols, the closed paw print. Is that a... Oh. Lala. 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 Copy any basic or forest location. That could be good, especially because it's currently occupied. Sending a worker to look out allows you to copy any basic or forest location, even those occupied by another player's worker. So, fuck you. I'm gonna go... What is it? The blackjack and hookers thing? Work through the pain? I'm trying. Drag the lookout from the meadow to your city to play it. So yeah. I don't need your stinking... whatever this is. I'll just go to the one in my town. It'll be fine. It'll be exactly the same. It's time to prepare for spring. Remember, when you prepare for the season, you get to recall your workers, gain an additional worker, and activate the spring cards in your city. Not spring, the the common cards, I guess? I forgot the word. Okay, hold on. I have a book for this. I literally have a book right over here. I should be looking at it for this term. Like, they have a little definition area for this means this. Some of the things in here are really pretty. Let's see. Okay, it's not in this book. It's in a different book. Okay, yeah, I found it. It's a production card. It's a production card when it's green. Green is production. Paw print is destination. Flowers, prosperity. Traveler is the little bindle. Bindle is the word. I know that because of my Everyone is John game. I described him as having a bindle. And governance card is the scroll. And I am not going to remember this. I'm going to keep the book gently open so I don't mess with it because I want it to be in good condition. It's a... Actually, I should describe it. So there's two rulebooks I have here. I have the Everdell, the Gilded Book, which is a glue-bound book, but it has a... Let's see how many pages. 88 pages, roughly? Maybe... Nope, it's 88 pages. So enough that they didn't go for a staple. They went with the glue binding, but it doesn't have like a formal ribbon or anything on the inside. It's not sewn. And then we have the archive book, which is only 40 pages, so half the size, and it is simply stapled. It is simply stapled. Let's see, let's see. This is spring. So cute! Sheldon has played an open destination card to their city. Click his avatar to view his city and then examine his inn. Is this not his avatar? Oh, over here! I didn't see it. It was blocked by my microphone. Okay. Sheldon has played an open destination card. Okay. Ooh, so we can actually scroll out now and see how things look with the big tree with the shiny thing. Sorry, the borders are kind of nice here too. It has a slight 3D effect underneath. With the... Is the word parallax proper? I don't know if that's the appropriate word, but the way that they layer things and move the layers depending on your viewpoint. So... So mine is always going to be in front of here, I suppose. Open destination, we're going to check out his inn. Open destinations are locations where any player may send a worker. However, when you send a worker to another player's location, that player will score a victory point for providing the service. Oh, so it actually says open. Good to know. Like critter or construction from the meadow. Oh, and okay, so it does tell you underneath also how many points for it being used, I'm assuming. Because I suppose this also makes it a bit more clear that if they add expansions where perhaps being open counts as 2 points, it doesn't have to be assumed. They can write in 2 instead. Play a critter or construction from the meadow for 3 fewer resources. That could be really powerful. Let's send our worker to the end to use its ability. I thought he was scratching his little squirrel butt. He's just scratching his little squirrel thigh. The inn allows you to play a card from the meadow for 3 fewer resources of your choice. Select a meadow card to play it for 3 fewer resources. We get a choice here. I also want to make sure real quick, hold on. So when it comes to playing a construction card, does that mean for the critter that it's associated with it, is it only when the construction card is played you get a free chance, or is it if you happen to acquire that worker later you're able to play it for free? I just want to double check. And this is one of those reasons why the first time game takes so long. Just you know, those, I don't call it an edge case because I feel like it's a very basic case, but I did not quite pick up on that ruling earlier. And I am probably looking in the wrong book for this because it's not quite what I'm looking for. And yeah, flipping through the rule books. Flipping through the rule books. Also making sure for the case of, do I want my own inn? And being able to theoretically play the innkeeper from that. Again, though, this isn't my hand, this is the meadow. Which also is probably another thing, like he's not in my hand, so he doesn't count. Bleh. I think this is just gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna have to play and see if the game allows me to do it instead of sitting here reading through these rulebooks. Because this is dealing with, like, expansion stuff. So what is our best option here? Oh, he waved. Worker stays here permanently for the cemetery. Do you see that? It's worth no victory points. Reveal 4 cards from the deck or discard pile and play 1 for free. Discard the others. But it's also 2 pebbles. But we actually don't... Wait, it doesn't matter about pebbles because this is going to be for 3 or fewer resources. So we could play something for completely free. Which means we probably want to focus on big things. Again, like the inn or the chapel. If we develop our own inn, it's probably going to be payback a bit for what we just did. Actually, do feel like I want to play the inn. It might be a little bit of a trap doing this because, again, it's mostly because it is a... Actually, hold on. What else do I have in here? So if I hover, we have the lookout. Being able to copy any basic or forest location. Ooh, the little noises. And the wanderer. We're gonna take this one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great choice. You're on your own from here. To complete this lesson, add 1 of each card type to your city. So not the normal thing. Normally it would be to the end of the game. Okay, place a worker. So we don't need to even worry about anything else, really. Scratching his little side. He took the innkeeper. Okay. He took the innkeeper. So the only thing that we have is a destination and a traveler. That's interesting, but it doesn't really help us right now. Oh, so do you see the price tag on this? 3 twigs, 3 resin, and 3 pebbles. Again, am I saying this right? I keep saying resin because it looks like resin to me, but what did they call it? What did they call it? Yeah, okay, it is resin. Yeah, it is resin. General storekeeper, farm, cemetery. I already have 2 destinations. Shopkeeper. Gain a berry after you play a critter. How many more critters do I really need to play, though, is the question. I feel like it's not so common. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the follow, Storybook Dreaming. Thank you for the compliments. I think today I'm especially on theme. I say that, but at the same time, like, I've described myself as not a wood elf, and yet here I am playing a game, but also we're building a city in the woods, so closer to theme? You know how it is. He's happy to see you too. Squirrel buddy. I just need to point up and shut up on this in terms of stuff. Like, I cannot afford the Evertree. I actually really can't. Oh, just looking. I have a stone and a berry. Oh, I have to place a worker. So it's just a question of what do I want to actually grab? Yeah, there's a digital version. It's made by the same people who made Roots. So you can see that the quality is actually really nice. There's a little bit of finickiness with placing things, which you'll probably see in a second once I actually place my squirrel, my worker. And like, I wish that you could shake the squirrel and he'd like physics move, but he doesn't. He just kind of, I guess he does, but it's not as much as I would hope for, you know? Like, I want a little bit more. Give me some live 2D swing. But yeah. It's, I just picked up the digital version too. I've played the physical version a little bit and I have the like huge box, but it's been a number of years, so this is a tutorial. This is the tutorial. Okay, so assuming that I'm going for the shopkeeper, I want another berry. Or I could just do this again. I could just do this again. But it feels a little bit like a waste. He doesn't have anything else, right? No. Unless I do the farm. I think I'm actually gonna do that. What do you mean? There we go. See, like, you have to place it in the right exact spot for it to work. That might be a little bit of an issue of this being a tutorial, but I feel like it's a bit more, not deep necessarily, just... Okay, we're doing this. He has 3 cards. You know, we tossed all our cards earlier for this tutorial. Oh! Can I just, like, play this card? I can. And that also yeah, we're gonna play for free by doing this. And the only thing we need now is the prosperity card, of which there are 2. There is the Evertree, which we are not gonna afford, and the theater. The theater. Which is also expensive. It's expensive. Maybe I should have saved this. Let's see. Yeah. If I want the theater, I need 3 twigs and a resin. Which, looking at my options here, is not coming all in one spot. The best I can hope for is grabbing 3 twigs and then grabbing something that gives me a resin later. Unless, hold on, wait. That gets me a berry. When playing a critter, you can discard the innkeeper from your city to decrease the cost by 3. But it's only for a critter, and that actually, sorry, just looking at this combined with the chapel, using the innkeeper to deal with the shepherd cost, because the shepherd is 3 berries, but it's 3 berries to your opponent. Unless it doesn't work because it may not be used with any other card playing ability. I think it should be fine. I think that should be a kosher move. In any case, I'm just delaying and delaying. I don't see a way out of this aside from doing a little bit of very basic stuff. Unless... hold on. What does the Haven do? I don't remember that being discussed. No, put my little squirrel right here. Play a card or I have no cards. Although I can play something here, but again, none of these fit my needs. I don't think. Second dungeon? I don't understand the ranger. I don't understand this one. Oh, wait. Okay. It's because common you can play as many as you want, but unique you can only have 1. So by having a ranger, you built a dungeon and you get a free ranger because you planned well. Or you get really lucky. By having that ranger, you have the ability now to have a second dungeon because it is a unique item. I'm guessing. That explains a bit more. It's not like Root where there's like an entire potential sub-game for the one player to like do dungeon delving essentially. Okay. I'm wondering, like, I can't actually afford this because it's 3 berries unless I pull this. which I don't want to do. Do I just hit the button instead of playing something? 3 twigs. 1 stone. What is my option? If I look for this, I have 3 twigs, I need 1 resin. So I could afford to buy something that only costs berries. But I don't think there is... Move one of your deployed workers to a new location. Actually, no, I am going to do this. We are actually going to skip this because it's going to be a prop. Oh, sweet. Choose a worker to move. So we're actually going to, because this guess is basically another free move. We are going to get that 1 resin. The question is, where do we get the resin? I can... This guy copies a basic or forest location. Actually, I can just place it here. Okay. Whew! I was a little confused. I was a little worried. I can also play this. I have a farm. I can drop him here. Play for free? Yes, we're gonna play for free. And our goal is complete. I didn't even have to worry about getting the theater. And we didn't bother going to new season, so we just got a few lucky chains, but lucky because this is a tutorial. Bustling and diverse city you have put together. Your goal is complete. Okay. Next tutorial. Today's probably just gonna be tutorial, and next week is going to be actual proper game. For your final test, you will race 3 opponents in an attempt to claim events. Actually, you'll probably have time for a game after this. It's not like it's a super, super long game. 4-player games add 4 random forest locations to the board. While each has 2 closed paw print spaces, each player may only send 1 worker to each forest location. Events are achievements that players may accomplish in the game to earn bonus victory points. In order to claim an event, you must be the first player to meet its requirements and send a worker there. Oh, thank you for the follow as well, several issues. To quickly move your camera to the Evertree event area, tap the tree icon below. Okay. And this is what the tree is for. As with locations, you send your workers to events. However, each event can only be claimed once. There are 4 basic events, which are available every game. They require you to collect a certain number of specific card type. The symbols. It is... Production, Traveler, Destination, or Governance. So they don't have prosperity ones in there. Okay. No prosperity. These events encourage you to specialize in a specific type to reap the reward of 3 victory points. High in the branches of the Evertree, you'll find 4 special events, which vary from game to game. These events require players to play specific cards to their city in order to claim them. Hold your mouse over a special event to examine it in more detail. Because special events reward you for collecting the listed cards, certain strategies may become more powerful from game to game. So if you have a lookout and miner mole that counts for an evening of fireworks, when achieved, you may place up to 3 wood here. Twig. It's twig. So 2 victory points for each twig on this event. So you have to have wood to place on there. To complete this tutorial, claim 1 basic event and 1 special event. You've got this. Take it away. Sorry, just looking at the options. Doop, doop, doop. So, our events. There's the Judge and the Queen for tax relief. Activate all production cards in your city for 3 victory points. The Inn and the Bard for performer and residents. When achieved, you may place up to 3 berries here. 2 victory points for every berry on this event. Lookout and Minor Mole for the Evening of Fireworks. We already talked about that one a little bit. And the Chip Sweep and Clock Tower for a well-run city. When achieved, bring back one of your deployed workers for 4 victory points. Although, I think I missed the difference between the special events and the regular events. Unless these are the basic events. Yeah, these are the basic events and these are the special events. Is this one? Grand Tour. You must have 3 destination cards in your city to claim this event. 3 more is needed. City monuments. 3 governance cards in your city to claim this event. 3 more needed. Of course. 4 production cards in your city. And 3 traveler cards in your city for the cartographer's expedition. I have a physical copy of the book. I have physical copies of both rule books with me, so that's why I keep looking over here occasionally, because that's where I have the literal icon reference, so I know what the appropriate names of these icons are, so I'm not just making stuff up. Like, yes, it's the flower card, it's the prosperity card. Although, honestly, with the paw print, I am just going off of, like, it's a paw print. Oh, I'm sorry, they are exclusive locations and shared locations. Exclusive locations and shared. They're closed paw and open paw to me. I don't know if I'm going to switch that verbiage. That wording up. That phrasing. Hedgehog, mouse, and turtle. Okay. Let's see. So I just also want to take a quick zoom out. So we have a squirrel, hedgehog, mouse, and turtle. Okay, I was kind of wondering if everyone gets a squirrel, but I guess we are playing the squirrel faction. Not that the factions really mean a whole lot to us. It just happens to be, this is how we know it's our own particular meatballs that we're putting out there. They are squirrels. Actually, let me check real quick. So I described the huge box and how there's different, like, levels of it, and there's meeples. Yeah, so one of the things is there's the bin of tokens. So there is, there's 23 sets of 6 worker meeples with matching rabbit travelers and frog ambassadors. There are 8 spider meeples for use with the Nightweave's lair. There's also big critters such as there's minis for Firebeak, Stubblehoof, Honeypaw, Windlore, Corleander, Kingrune, Whisper, Truffle, and Nightweave. Those are the Nightweave's lair ones, I guess? Those are the huge meeples where, like, Stubblehoof is actually a moose. Honeypaw is a bear. Truffle is a hog. No, Truffle is a boar. Whisper is a wolf. Kingrune is a ram. Corleander looks like a peacock. And there's stickers to put on them, but, well, the meeples are probably fine enough. But yeah, so they have meeples for whatever factions you want to play. Do you want to play bees or cats or foxes? You have your choice. You could be spiders or snails or axolotls or, you know, squirrels, hedgehogs, mice, and turtles. All those. Oh, they have stoats. They actually have stoats in here. And otters as well. Let me check what else. And moles. And rats. And mice. Difference. And starlings. A lot of options. A lot of options. I don't know if we got to see that in the... Let me see if I can grab up a photo, actually. Is this the appropriate? Nope, that's the wrong game. Oh, they have stickers for the base version, I suppose. But why do that when you can play the advanced version with like a ton of meeples? Like, legit, a ton. Do they even really call them meeples? They do call them meeples. They do call them meeples. Okay. Sorry, getting a photo of the complete collection meeples out. I hope there's not a timer on this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is my canary? Where's my canary? Also make sure that this... Okay, there's no... Oh, there's no filter on that. I need to copy that real quick. Nope, nope. That out. Pop that out. This one actually has stickers on all of them. I don't necessarily know if that's something that I would necessarily want to do, personally. But... Oh, it's behind the game. Let me move it real quick above. So this is all the... Well, a bunch of the meeples with stickers on them. So you can see the snail, the bat, the cardinal. There's the butterfly. A whole lot of meeple choices that you can have for workers. The big ones in the back, the moose, the spider, the bear, those are not player meeples. Those are not player meeples. So you can pick whatever your spirit animal is. I'm actually zoomed out right now, honestly. I'm zoomed out. Like, you can be way zoomed in. So Root also has a similar system where you can zoom out quite a bit, and things in Root become a little bit more concise. So if you zoom in on Root, you'll see individual workers, but when you zoom out, it will be condensed just down into a symbol of 5 workers or something like that, instead of showing the individual ones. So they don't quite have the same effect here, but this is more so you can get a better look at all your competitor stuff at once. Or you can zoom in. Or I guess you can just like jump home, actually. So I'm staring at the turtles board, but I want to go back. Fine, this is cool. You can zoom in quite a bit if you want. A part of it might also be that I have an overlay and I don't want to be covering too much of the screen, which is why I have it with me on the side here. And it could be full screen, but I'd be blocking something of value, I think. Versus right now where I'm actually just blocking one card. I'm blocking a card. Which kind of sucks. But at least I can move to the side to show you guys. And the same, I suppose, with the 1 or 2 spaces here, but you can still see the spaces if I zoom out just a tiny bit. Yeah, a lot of digital board games don't have they're very well designed in regards to screen space, which doesn't leave a whole lot of options for streaming overlays directly on it. I don't know where I would want to put chat or myself on the screen if I were directly over it. Okay, so we just need to claim a basic event and a special event. We don't have to worry about points. Always remember what your objective is. I haven't even looked at my hands. So we have an N. There's also the fact that I can do this. Just hover and you can see what card I'm pointing at. There's the N. We've done that before. The Bard. You may discard up to 5 cards to gain 1 victory point each. Oh, he's even got a little tabard on. Like an actual little tabard. The Lookout we've also dealt with. The Minor Mole. That's new to us. So we get to copy 1 production card in an opponent's city. Innkeeper. We've dealt with him again. Gatherer, we've dealt with him. The Peddler is new to us. You may pay up to 2 resources to gain an equal amount of resources. So that's a way of swapping twigs for stone or something like that. Hoodwink him a little bit. Actually, is he? Okay, it's associated with runes. Ruins. Ruins, not runes, exactly. Pronunciation differences. And the Wood Carver. You may pay up to 3 twigs to gain 1 victory point each. And the things in town. We have the Judge, the Queen, the Chip Sweep, the Clock Tower, the Dungeon, the Peddler, the Twig Barge, and the Fool. I remember this now. I remember the Fool. He was a pain in the ass. You play the Fool into an empty space in an opponent's city. He takes up a space which you guys, we haven't had an issue with space in our cities, but by the end game, it actually matters a lot. Like, losing a space to the Fool hurts. And there's also the fact that he's worth -2 points. You don't want the Fool dumped on you. Forsooth, thou hast not heard of me? Twig Barge. So that's every season you gain 2 twigs. And it costs a twig and a stone. So it's one of those things that would be good if it's played early. Dungeon. We'd heard about the dungeon, but we didn't actually have a dungeon before. May not be used with any other card playing ability. It's a resin and 2 stone. No victory points, but when playing a construction or critter, you may place a critter from your city face down beneath this dungeon to decrease the cost by 3 resources. So you kind of trash a critter to make another critter cheaper. Okay. That's neat. The Judge. Another unique critter. When you play a critter or construction, you may replace 1 resource with 1 resource. After much deliberation, I will accept that substitution. And the Queen. Play a card worth up to 3 victory points for free, and she costs 5 berries. Victory points. Just remembering, I don't remember how much the Everdell tree cost. I don't remember how much the Everdell tree cost. A Chip Sweep is pretty basic. Activate a production card in your city. And the Clock Tower. When played, place 3 victory points here. At the beginning of preparing for season, you may pay 1 victory point from here to activate one of the basic or forest locations where you have a worker deployed. So it's best if played early, but it's also expensive. 3 wood and a stone. 3 wood and a stone. Because I don't think the victory points placed there actually count as points at the end of the game. But I could be wrong. It's one of those things where I should look... I should consult the rule book. Sorry, just looking at the options here. If I'm not relying on things from certain areas, what's the best option here given the hand that I have? What is the best option between that and... Also, I have to focus on getting a basic event. gonna wing it a little bit. We're gonna wing it a little bit, I think. So 2 twigs. Can I? Is there? Oh, he already played. A bunch of them already played. Right. Okay. So it's gonna be a little limited in what we can do. Actually, yeah. Sorry, just double checking to see, do they have any cards that I can use? Does anyone have anything fancy? And the answer seems to be no. So if I want to play the inn and the lookout, or the lookout. But I'd rather play the inn simply because I have the innkeeper to go along with it for free. Not that he's very expensive, but he's useful. So I need 2 twigs and a resin, and it's just more of it. Is there anything that actually gives me that? And the answer is no. The best I can do is 3 twigs or twigs and cards. And is there anything else that could slap down that would help me in this regard? Like, the bard is interesting, but at the same time, this isn't the point of my game. In this particular instance, it's not the point of the game. I do want to play the peddler. The peddler is not actually in any of those things, though, but that's okay. Just because this is a very useful power. We don't have a harvester. Okay. We are going to go for resin right now. We're gonna go for resin right now. Thank you, college football coach. I hope you have a good year as well. Oh, come on, let me drop my squirrel. Okay, a little rough, but we can do this. Not rough, but just more... Okay, there's nothing that we can afford with the 2 resin that we currently have. But the point was not entirely doing that, it was also other things, and we can drop him here and get some wood. Okay. Play a card or prepare for next season. We're gonna play this. And this is also the reason why, again, things can go a little out of sync. Oh, you can actually see that some people have moved on to spring. And that we are still in winter over here, as well as the mouse. We're also gonna play this guy. We're going to confirm that we're playing him for free. Play a card or prepare for the next season. We can afford... Actually, because of the inn, is it that we can afford this? It feels a little strange. Like, why is everything highlighted? They have a twig barge and the judge. They have the chip sweep and the farm. Okay. From the meadow for 3 fewer. Just, is there anything in here that I could get away with doing? Oh, I would actually need something that wouldn't really work. Okay. Yeah, I wonder why it's saying I can do this. It feels like it's a bit strange. Can I do this? Oh, you know what? It's the innkeeper. It's the innkeeper. Okay. Yeah, we're not doing the innkeeper. Not unless we had a berry so we could dump him for the queen. Well, we have victory point. Okay. So the idea here is not victory points. I'm going to play the bard eventually. Oh, there's the king. The king is new to us. So the king... Let me just double check. Oh, no, I didn't want to grab that. So the queen is associated with the palace, and the king is associated with the castle. So he gives you 1 victory point for each basic event you achieved, and 2 for each special event you achieved. Each for every whisker, scale, and tail. Oh, so the character that's been speaking to us this entire time, teaching us the game, has been the queen. I just pieced that together. Oh, and we also have the post office postal pigeon. Reveal 2 cards. You may play one worth up to 3 victory points for free. Discard the other. It's cute though with little goggles. So yeah, this is a much calmer game than Root. You can play against each other, but it's not nearly as direct. And you each complete the game at your own pace. Which is a bit strange, but it works. It works. In some regards, I guess literally not quite the same time. It's not like one person takes 60 minutes and the other person takes 90 minutes. Not that it should take that long, but more of a... Someone might run out of turns sooner. Bleh. Okay. I do want to get the peddler out. But I also don't have 2 berries. I don't have 2 berries. I can do that, and that gets me cards. There's no place to get 3 berries, is there? There isn't. Oh, but we have 3 workers this time. We have 3 workers. I also feel like if I do this, I'm probably gonna have some, not issues necessarily, just... If I put this down, I put the peddler down. I'm diversifying a bit much. I'm honestly diversifying a bit too much, probably. Oh, we have a cemetery now. Worker stays here permanently. That's rough. We are going to... We have the wood carver. Nope. 1 victory point each. Do I want to even do this? All I really want to do... Okay. I only have 2 berries. But if I get rid of the innkeeper, he's free. I'm actually gonna play this. Come on. What do you mean I can't play? We're gonna skip that. Oops. Is there a way for me to... Okay. Yeah, okay, real quick, we're gonna check the map, because I only have 1 resource, and it's kind of a case of, do I want to keep the resin, or do I want to trade it for a pebble because pebbles are harder to acquire? I could trade it for a berry, but I think it might just be better to trade it for a pebble. Yeah, I'm just gonna trade it for a pebble. And yeah, I don't have a second resource. That kind of sucks. I kind of forgot that was gonna be immediate. What do they have? So he has the university. Discard a critter or construction from your city. Gain resources equal to that card's cost. And then gain 1 resource and gain a victory point. Demolish things for the university. Okay. So the judge and historian. Clock tower. He got that one. Okay. He took the... Did he do it? Maybe he hasn't. Okay, I guess I just need to like get a shit ton of berries. I need to get a shit ton of berries. What is the best way of doing that, actually? The best way of gaining that many berries. I don't have any of these things. Okay. These are taken. That's the best way of getting berries. The next best thing would probably be putting this guy down, which I don't have the material to do so. Copy one of these. Gain 2 wood. Activate one of these in the city. Or gain a berry. Okay. Man, I wish I had a farm. I wish I had a farm. That would be nice. But I don't. I do not. And again, that would only get me a berry. That really sucks, actually. Sorry, so it'd be better if I could do the lookout. But there's also the case of if I play the lookout, someone else is probably going to play on top of him. Before I get a chance to. This is probably my best option right now. At least getting a variety as well as that. I still have 1 mouse. Not mouse. 1 squirrel left. I wonder if I'm able to, in the settings, to pick my own people, so to speak. That might also be a case of a choice I have in the actual games and not the tutorial. To barge. What do I want to do? I have 1 of everything. I have 1 of everything, which means I can again play that. And when it comes to other things, I don't have 3 of any. It'd be good if I could start emphasizing. If I do... Okay, I need 4 production cards, but the rest I only need 3. And flowers do not count. But flowers are expensive. I say flowers, prosperity cards are expensive. Also, I guess the Fool counts. That kind of is a shining benefit, I suppose. That, hey, at least it counts towards your travelers. If you need that 3rd traveler, and someone happens to dump him on your lap. Actually, I wonder if that means that it could be revoked. There must be something in the rules for that. Like, at the time it happens, you get it. But if you manage to move the Fool away, does that get taken away from you? I need more berries. Okay. We don't have a Wanderer, and the Wanderer is not available on the board. If I do this, though, it's going to be my 2nd location. So I'm actually going to play this guy. Please don't play on my lookout. Please don't play on my lookout. Oh, thank you for not playing on the lookout. There's nothing else. Oh, there's the Evertree. The Evertree is really expensive. And... okay. We are going to copy basic location. We're going to get some more berries. It's kind of... is this the best move? Maybe not. Maybe not. We have a post office. Did someone else drop a bar down? They did. They have a clock tower and university. You'll see repeating things, like multiple people have historians here of the bats. And multiple people have clock towers. And bards. And that's the ruins. Okay. Oh, this is fun. I don't have the resources for it anymore. Okay. Do I want to spend 3 berries to put the bard down? I think I do. The other option is to get rid of the innkeeper and have it for free. Which may honestly not be a bad option. Have a good night, V. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Oh, come on, let me play the card. We're actually, yes, we're going to use the innkeeper for this. Come on, let me use the innkeeper. Oh, I have to actually select it first. Okay. 5 cards to discard. Doop. And this gets us victory points, but at the same time... We're gonna get rid of everything except for the post office, because we want that postal pigeon too. So all I need is 2 resin and a twig. So I actually need to put a worker down on there. Damn it. I have no card to play. Because all I have are 3 berries. That's parched toad. Can't afford it. Unlike spring and autumn, you do not trigger production cards when preparing for summer. Instead, you may take 2 cards from the meadow and add them to your hands, so long as you aren't at the hand limit. Oh! Oh then, okay. Again, all we have to do is... And we get 4 meeples now. Up to 3 victory points for free. It feels like kind of cheap to get the pigeon. It feels kind of cheap to get the pigeon. He's a common critter after all. But at the same time, I don't know for unique critters. I have 3 berries. He is... Actually, what's our 10, 9, 10, 10, 11. Okay, I'm not doing so bad on victory points. I haven't actually been looking at the victory points because, again, that's not the aim of my game here. If I can afford it, this would be good. And wait, actually, the other thing I need to do is the location. Is there? Oh, the queen counts, though. The queen counts. So if I can grab the queen and lay her down in my city here, and then slap down for the in-bard combo, and I won't have any berries. I won't have any berries to put down, but it doesn't matter. Unless there's something in here for that. I should probably use the innkeeper for the shepherd, but it's a bit late now. I got 2 cards. So another doctor and a crane. With an architect beaver. That makes sense, though. Place a worker or play a card. So, if we get 1 wood and 2 resin. We need 1 wood and 2 resin. There's no way to do that except putting down specifically for of that. Okay. So if I put down for 2 resin specifically, I don't think I have any way to generate resin. I don't even need the post office. I don't even need the Actually, I can do either post office or queen. If I do post office... Oh, I need some wood. I need 1 wood. I can get 2 wood in a card, or I can get 3 wood. Or... Actually, there's no option for that. Or just like 1 wood and something else. Aside from over here, which... I just... Into how many berries is it for the in bard combo? 3 berries. Okay. So all I technically need is this. It probably doesn't hurt. Okay, we're doing this. Okay, I think this is coming together to meet the goals. If it asks me to do anything further than the goals, I'm kind of screwed. Okay, we're doing post office. I guess that's our 3rd location. I'm going to do this. Oh, come on. Let me drop him in here. In here? Come on, let me... Yeah, excellent. 3 berries. There we go. And the other thing is over here. And the game has ended. Thankfully, it didn't care. Nice work achieving those events. Your lessons are complete. If you are looking for a fun next step, we'd recommend trying out a challenge game. These are a series of solo matches featuring a special variant or goal exclusive to Everdell Digital. So a bit like Root. Quite a bit like Root. 24 points. With 2 events and 2 remaining resources. Excellent. Challenges. Let's take a quick look at the challenges available. Test your mettle in a series of games with unique rules and starting conditions. Each challenge is a harder version to unlock by taking first place in normal mode. So exactly like Root. Spring into oh, there's the scroll bar here. I'm gonna... Can I move a little bit? I'm not blocking a whole lot, but... So we have spring into action. You start in spring rather than winter. Oof. Commoner Uprising. Common cards are free if you have a card in your city with the same name. Opponents start with a unique card in their city. Bake Off. Whenever you send a worker to a destination card, gain 2 berries. And also like the cute little bits of flavor here for like every character loves Bake Off season. Travel around Everdell cities and savor those scrumptious treats. Savor the scrumptious treats. Guest list. Meadow contains all the cards listed on special events. Wait. Huh. Wow, okay. Okay, water. I've got it. I've got it. Actually, now I'm also going to check a little bit on my what's the word? My lamp. It's a bit it's a bit awkward, this lamp. They said that like it's okay if it sweats, and it's kind of what do you mean it's okay if my salt lamp sweats? And you're supposed to put a little tray under it in case it does like sweat and get like salt water everywhere. I didn't actually get a tray before this, so I'm just hoping that I will catch it if it happens to leak on my desk. If my lamp leaks. It's not a good look. But it's pretty. Also, actually, this is a lamp, a Himalayan salt lamp that is carved like a rose. So it's not quite on theme because an evening primrose and primroses in general do not look like roses, but it's the thought that counts behind it a little bit. It's the thought that counts. They were thinking of flowers when they were thinking of me. It does look pretty. And it's a little bit warm, which is nice for right now. Maybe in the summer it won't be quite so nice. So Carnival. You start the game with 2 fools and a fairgrounds in your city. We saw the fool. That's a negative 4 points right there that you have to trash. You have to find out how to trash. Bed and breakfast. You start the game with an inn. You cannot visit more than 1 forest location in a season. The critter, or job swap, the critter that may occupy each construction has been randomized. Wow, actually that seems like it'd be really fun. So instead of the innkeeper being attached to the inn, it could be the fool attached to the inn. How would that work for like the harvester and the gatherer for the farm? Out for delivery. Your starting hand is replaced with 3 postal pigeons. Postal pigeons do not take up room in your city. New frontiers. You do not activate production cards when preparing for spring or autumn. Instead, they are activated when you play a traveler card. Opponents start with a production card in their city. An eventful afternoon. Events are worth an additional 3 victory points. The Great Mix-Up. When you prepare for season, your resources are randomized. And well balanced. Is that? Nope, second to last. Each player gains 5 victory points for every set of 5 different colored cards in their city. Huh. That kind of goes against the basic events, but you could actually count up to, so you can get 15 points if you play this perfectly. Also assuming that you don't have a lot of free cards. I say free cards, there are some cards where you saw they do not count against your 15 slot limit for your city. If you somehow manage 5 more of those, that's another 5 points. That's 20 points you could theoretically get. I don't know how possible that is, but it also just leaves a bit more wiggle room for trying to get 15 points out of this. Late start. You start in autumn with 18 workers. 18. Some years, winter hits early. The whole of Everdell is here to help make sure you're able to weather the season, but you'll have to act fast. That's quite heavy. Arts trials. Again, like the art for all these is so pretty. So like Root is cute. This is also cute, but it's a more painterly style. I guess they're both sort of things that you would find in children's books in terms of art. I guess this is... It's still playful, but it feels a little less playful than Root, if that makes sense. Okay, I want to check this out. So what is this? We only have a selection of these 4 for selecting workers. That sucks. So... Easy, hard, medium, that's it. Closed? Ah, okay, so we don't really have a whole lot of choice. Unlike Wingspan, where in Wingspan you can select that you're against 1 easy and 2 hard if you want to. Here, it's a blanket. Okay. I think I'm actually gonna go get some more tea, and then after that we will start this game up and we will try a full basic game. We'll try and get from spring to winter. No, it starts in winter. It starts in winter? It starts in winter. From winter to autumn. We'll try and get through an entire game and see about that. So I will be right back. Well, right back is gonna be at least 5 minutes. I gotta boil the tea. I have to boil the tea. Okay, we are back. We're gonna try out one game. We're gonna try out one game. I'm gonna try and make it snappy. Maybe snappy isn't the right word. I'm not gonna try and jack it out too long though. What is the... Okay, I have the box right here. Give me a second. And hello, Clashinator. I'm gonna grab the box and see how long is this game supposed to take. Actually, it's not on the box lid, because the box lid is like a pretty box lid. It's a gorgeous... this is a box lid that has foil... embossing is... Actually, yeah, embossing is the right word. It has foil text, and it has... It has a gloss coat in sections, which is... Like, that's still fancy to me, honestly. It's still fancy to me. Let me grab you probably just heard it. That was me dropping the lid on the box, but not in a way to cover the box because it's a really tight lid. It was a little bit of a fight to get it off. Okay, how long is Everdell supposed to take? What is the advertised playtime? 40 to 80 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try and give this more to 40 minutes. It's also a case of we're playing against AI, so it should be closer to that because they're gonna be quick with their turns and I'm gonna take forever. If I take over an hour... If I take over an hour and a half, that's not good. It's not good. Okay. Hello, Darshan. Oh, and you watered... Okay, I'm gonna... I have water. I also have tea. I have fresh tea. Actually, I'm going to grab something for that. You probably heard that too. I have a little owl tea... Teacup is not the right word. Tea stopper? No, that's not it either. I have something to rest my tea bags on when I am done with them. So that's my thinking noise. Sometimes. Sometimes it's also just the tea mug against other things. I'm doing... Oh, hello, Code Glitch. I'm doing fine. There is an actual word for them, I'm sure. I just don't know the word for it. For a... tea... Like tea bag rest? A tea rest. Okay. A tea bag rest. A tea rest. That's what I have. What are you going to be sharing, Newtonia? Yeah. Otherwise, with some of these teas, you are oversteeping. Some of them can be afford to be oversteeped, but this particular one, not so much. Oh. This. In the northwest, even designers in the mountain foresty towns, a steak, eggs, roast potatoes, rye toast, unlimited coffee for $17. That does sound like a hiker's meal, doesn't it? To replenish everything that you've lost. A lot of the smaller diners would offer things like that. Even around here, they have a farmer's breakfast for relatively cheap. Not necessarily with the steak, though. Not necessarily with the steak. But yeah, lots of eggs, some form of potato. Buy 1 cup of coffee, and it's just like unlimited coffee and some toast. And they also have some meat on there, I suppose. Instead of the steak, they would have sausages or bacon or something, but like a pile of it. Yeah. Some of it's all blonde giants. That's humans. That's humans. Not all humans. But if you live out in the middle of nowhere like that. I have some family, not garden elves, all of them, but family that's been married and that have done a lot of work like that, and they are... They're big. Not necessarily blonde, though, in this case, but when you're pounding tires for hours on end, it really does take a lot out of you. So I've heard. I've not pounded tires, personally. There's also a thing... Okay, I'm gonna create the game. There's also something about... So, like, breakfast was usually the biggest meal, right? Because you needed the calories in you early to help recover from either the chores that you had to do before breakfast or the chores you were about to do. Isn't that the thing with farming families? People from farming areas? I do have some relatives who have more of a green thumb than others in this sort of regard, but I've honestly not. I visited, but I didn't do any chores. Not really. I helped to, like, milk the cow, the one cow, and helped collect eggs while they still had chickens. That was about it. Otherwise, it's kind of a, what do you mean I have to wake up super early? That's not happening. It's not happening. Have you hiked other locations other than Northwest? I know that there are some communities for hiking along the Appalachian. I feel like it's a lot safer to do that than to try and do that along big chunks of the Rockies, unless you're doing small chunks of the Rockies. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just happenstance that I've heard about Appalachian ones. And not Rocky hikers. Okay. I'm checking what the things here are. So you have the Undertaker Barge Toad for Croak Wart Cure. When achieved, pay 2 berries and discard 2 cards from your city. And the Undertaker is actually a beetle. I wonder if it's after a dung beetle? Yeah, I've also been, yeah, if you're not used to being outdoors like that, it really takes a lot out of you. I've gone camping, like proper camping-ish once, and that was miserable. In hindsight, I guess it's kind of a something to laugh at, but in the moment it felt fairly miserable. No, I'm not. I have my garden. I like manicured nature. Gardens. Gardens. Not wood. Garden elf. Yeah, being... I'm not a failed... I don't have class levels. I don't have class levels. Leave me in the city. So we have the courthouse and the ranger for the capture of the acorn thieves. When achieved, place up to 2 critters from your city beneath this event. The teacher and university for the graduation of the scholars. When achieved, you may place up to 3 critters from your hands beneath this event. And then the chip sweep in the clock tower for a well-run city. So you can bring back one of your deployed workers for 4 points. So this is worth up to 6 points. This is 6 points. This is 6 points. So everything is 6 points except for the chip sweep clock tower. Almost a failed elf. Look, not everyone. Not all elves. Not all elves. I have visited the Rockies. I've actually been up to Pikes Peak. and other sections of the Midwest. But Pikes Peak was one of the ones that I very distinctly remember doing because of the fact that they had you check your brakes going up a bit. Though I did not visit during winter. That was more of a spring thing. Although I did catch the snow. It was a very late snow. It actually prevented me from leaving because we didn't expect the snow during that time frame. I think it was April, maybe? It may have been March or April. And it was not freak, but unexpected snow. It did not have an oxygen... did not need an oxygen mask up in Pikes Peak. It's not that tall. I don't think. I just remember there's also a fudge shop up there. There's a fudge shop up there. I mean, it's noticeably different, the atmosphere up there, but I'm not so weak as to need an oxygen mask. I don't know if we would have gone up with anyone who would need something like that up there anyway. Hello, Vaxac. How are you doing? Brake check. I think we also have to make sure we had four-wheel drive. I could be wrong. And fudge shop. But my normal... I'm not used to being, what is it, 13,000 feet up in the air? 13,000 feet up in the air. I remember baking up there. Having to have different baking instructions to follow, that was something. That was a trip. Things are going fine. I'm starting up my first proper game of Everdell. I played this before, but only the cardboard edition, the like physical edition. I played Roots, which is made by the same people in terms of the digital version. But it's a very pretty game. Cheap party food and giant men. A lot of places have cheapish food as long as you're in the right kind of location for that food. If you want cheap seafood, go to the coast, right? You can barely walk around at 7,000 without oxygen. That's a shame. Shame, sorry. I didn't mean to laugh, just... I hope that you can strengthen yourself, if that's possible. Or go to, I hope you live at a lower elevation than that. Altitude. Altitude is the word. Altitude. I feel like most people do not actually thinking about it. In the US, because people tend to be concentrated on the coast, the average elevation that people live at must be far closer to zero, honestly, than it would be to probably even the 25% marker for the highest elevation in the US. Elevation, altitude. There's probably a more technical difference between the two, but I don't know that, so I'll just call them the same thing for now. Okay. So we have the lookout, the barge tow, the doctor, the farm. The monk is new to us. We haven't seen the monk out. Oh, COPD. I know other people who have that as well. I hope that... I hope it doesn't get worse for you. Let's see, the monastery for the monk. You may give up to 2 berries to an opponent to gain 2 victory points each. And you can unlock a second monastery then. Your entire country is coastal. Waking up and seeing the mountains. It depends if you live on... Actually, living in the mountains, depending on the type of mountain, it might be a case of if you live in the mountains, you may not have a great view of it because they'll be blocked by trees and other things. The better option then might be to live on the plains by the mountains. So you have a view of the mountains without living on them. foothills. Oh, water. I will have some tea. I should probably try and get like a clear mug or something for that. Otherwise it looks really funny. Okay. I need to figure out how to turn the sound back on for that. I turned the sound off and I don't know how to turn... Wait, actually, I may have it. I turned the global volume down. That's what it was. Okay. No, it didn't. I'm gonna refund that one so we can do a quick test. Let me just figure out where the refund button is. I swear I have it somewhere here. Is it here? It is here. Okay, we're gonna reject that throw. No, I'm gonna reject both of them. And... oh, it still didn't do the noise. Okay. What is the cause of that? Why isn't it making the noise? I don't think I have the volume, unless it's a system sound? I don't think it should be a system. OBS browser page, that's it. Okay. Let me... aha, there we go. I'm gonna try a test. Let's see, where's the gnome? Where's the gnome? Do I? There we go. Woo! Okay, there we go. That's the gnome. That's the gnome. He makes a noise now. He makes the noise. I figured I should keep him because I live in a garden. It's a garden gnome. It fits thematically, even if it's not Puzzle Agent. Even if it's not Puzzle Agent. Okay. We have the monk. We have a chapel, which is new, I think. So for the chapel, place 1 victory point on this chapel, then draw 2 cards for each victory point on the chapel. So it builds up. The Fool, Postal Pigeon, the Harvester. So we have 2 harvesters. And we have a farm, so I think the first order of business should honestly be the farm. University teacher, lookout. There's nothing in here really for, aside from Barge Toad Undertaker. Do I source my... not all of them because some of them are a pain. And also it depends on the season. Summer? Fall? Sure. Winter... if I have them dried, sure. But otherwise, just have to get them elsewhere. I grew... like, does it... I feel like shiso may not normally count as an herb exactly. It is a plant, but the way that I tend to have it is kind of the way that a lot of people would have herbs. It's used... you dry it and you have it, like, dusted as part of furikake, essentially. I had red shiso and green shiso. And chives. And I didn't have mint this year, unfortunately. And I had cat mints. Catnip? Catnip this year. But I also don't want to necessarily let some of these things run out of the garden. You should have seen my tomatoes and my peppers. Those ones grew a bit more ridiculously. At least I didn't pepper myself this year. Okay, I am gonna get something for 2 1 and 1 thing. Unless... yeah, okay. 2 wood, 1 resin. And the hand size limit I think was 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're gonna stick with this. I feel like for a druid, though, we don't... You don't really think about gardens when you think about druids, though, do you? More about wild nature, not necessarily manicured nature. Don't necessarily want it organized. So I need another wood. The question is, do I do this? Or do I get a card? I think I might just go for the card. Oh, we get a gatherer. Excellent. This is worthwhile. Someone played the queen! That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Okay, so... I'm gonna play this. A black thumb. It depends on the kind of plant. Some plants are notoriously hard, and people don't realize that to keep alive. There was someone who was talking about their Venus flytrap was needing to be split, and they were asking for advice, and the board was entirely filled with, how? How did you do this? This plant is very... like, none of the people on the board had been able to propagate a Venus flytrap so successfully to have it produce more of itself. These were all mostly amateurs, I think, but still. Oh, actually, I should probably be doing one of these first. Oh, which... Okay, this one's more expensive. So I should probably do that one first. Yeah. So, gain 1 if paired with the Gatherer, and you have at least 1 farm in your city. Okay. So because of the order of operations, I actually don't want to pick the Harvester first, simply because it has to be paired with a Gatherer first for it to go off. Actually, then it's a case of like, which one happens? Which one happens? 3 points or the resource? I think I actually do want to do this. We're gonna confirm. It needs to be in a certain kind of soil, like not nutritional soil. Usually I think peat moss is what's suggested, or spugum. I don't know how to pronounce it. And it can't be overwatered. And you also need to make sure it actually gets to eat insects, which is another, I think, sticking point. And also light to consider. It's, yeah, sphagnum. Yeah, that's the mostly suggested thing. I can afford that, but I'm gonna play this instead, and it won't be free. And it's 3 victory points. Oh, they complete little heart! They complete a little heart. Thank you for the follow, Sailor Moon Kitty. Oh, sorry, just realizing, oh, did I not turn on the sounds for this? I should be doing sounds. That's strange. It's not updating either. I wonder if Stream Labels is having an issue. Actually, I'm gonna restart it. A lot of time it hasn't been starting properly. It's been unfortunate. I don't realize until afterwards. Okay. Is it okay? Now it updates. Sphagnum. Something like that. Something like that. That and orchids are another thing, but I think that Venus flytraps are harder to propagate than orchids. A lot of people want orchids because they're pretty. So there's a lot more information about it versus Venus flytraps, which are from, what, a 75-mile area. And that's the only place they really do well. Okay. So we need 4 to complete the Harvest Festival card thing. We don't necessarily want to do that, though. We don't have anything but cards. We really have nothing else we can do except for move forward. We get to choose a resource. Pebble is the hardest. Pebble is the hardest. In both terms of acquiring it and the actual material. I think. Just, would resin be... Resin would not be harder than stone, right? There's a chart, not chart. There's a scale for that sort of thing, right? The hardness of various materials. But I guess usually the harder they are, the more brittle they are as well. Mo scale. And there's a separate scale for like brilliance, isn't there? When it comes to diamonds and stuff. Diamonds and other shiny rocks, because it's not just diamonds. There's the one that's looks like a diamond, but isn't a diamond, and it's way cheaper. So if you want to have a very sparkly engagement ring or something, you can simply get the cheaper one, and the only person who's going to be able to tell is the jeweler. I don't remember what the brilliant scale is, or what the name of the other rock type is that's not a diamond. I don't know if it's out of favor anymore either. Like maybe people have caught on, so to speak. Monastery. It only costs 1 berry, but okay. What do I want to do? I have the barge toad, there's no undertaker. If I get another berry and place him down, I get wood for that. So I think this is gonna be like a cheap run, so to speak. This is not gonna be a fancy city that I'm building here. And all 3 berries are taken. Okay. All 3 berries are taken. But all I need... Oh! Thank you, Ark. Or... Is that really a thank you for getting notes? My bad. Shame on you for knowing me. Okay, okay. I'll take some water. Okay. I think I'm going to go for variety. This way I can get a... This way I can get a resin. If I do go for the Undertaker, I need to pay... and discard 2 cards from the city. So something that has no more value at the end of it. Though that would also be fine for taking in fools. Vickers? I've not heard of Vickers scale. The brilliance? Maybe... Maybe the brilliance is not actually something that is directly... Well, you can I should say it might be a case of it's too hard to determine on a case-by-case basis. Let's see. So, just looking at what other people have. They also have the barge toad, so they're probably also going to be on the lookout for an Undertaker. So they have the Queen and the resin refinery. But I don't think anyone else is directly aimed at something yet. Okay. The fact that I don't have a twig barge, though, is kind of annoying. I want a twig barge. Again, inn. But there's no innkeeper, right? There's no innkeeper out. But I'm also not limited to just having one of any of these. I don't know if I want multiple. He's not going to give me anything for summer, I don't think. Because of how the seasons work. The seasons are not the same But then again, the same in viticulture. Wait, actually. Are they similar? I guess they are the same in viticulture. The seasons don't really change. What am I thinking of? Wingspan, where you get one less action per season. Although they don't call them a season, but there's 4. A season fits in terms of theming. I don't know why they didn't call it season. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, I think. Actually, wait. If I do this from the meadow for 3 fewer. Oh, but this is anyone can do it, so I just want to do someone else's. Have a good night, Sloth Arms. Okay, I'm going to just do the twin barge. He cost me 2, but he got me a wood. Which, I guess is not actually super great, but it's gonna keep on building. I'm gonna have so much wood. And it's my... I still have workers. I actually haven't placed too many workers. Theater for each unique critter. But we don't have any unique critters. Yeah, this is not a fancy town that we're building here. Oh, you can only have 1 fool. Except I suppose in that one special thing. Oh! Oh, I need 1 more grain to count for that. The chip sweep. Gain thing. Two wood, 1 other material, and 3 points. Oh wait, but he doesn't count. That's fair. So I just want to stock up on wood and then convert. I don't have any way to convert. I don't have any way to convert. That's a problem. Except if I get the wood carver, but it's not exactly quite the same. So much wood. And other things. If I do this, there's no shepherd. There's nothing linked. What I really need is stone. I guess I don't actually need it. Being able to do this is a very late game option. Okay. I don't necessarily know if I want to do that either. I might just go for this option just to have some more things available. And I'm still going to have a few. A ranger and a twig barge! Except we already have 1. Okay. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll get lucky. Nothing changed. Nothing actually changed on the board. This kind of sucks. Okay. If I play this, I get 2 wood. I'm gonna have so much wood. But it counts as a destination. But it's also not going to allow me to do some other things. Please, please turn the meadow. Please turn the meadow. Please turn the meadow. Oh, a farm. I can afford a farm. Gets me a berry. It's kind of a shit trade, right? Oh, it's not the worst, actually. I get more wood. And I churn. Oh, Allie, how are you doing? A university, that's not what I needed. Why is this linked? That's the only thing I can afford? This is not... Actually, it might be true. It's so expensive. I need an undertaker. I need an undertaker. I have one worker left in this season. After that, it's gonna be a little funky. We are going to... I said I wanted stone, and I completely didn't do anything with stone. I can't if I get a resin, I can afford another farm. Well, I can afford another farm. That's really... It feels a little dumb. I could have 3 farms. Just 1 resin. Just 1 resin. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to see what do other people have. I should have been looking at that. University. Discard a critter or construction from your city. Gain a resource equal to that card's cost. Then gain 1 resource and a victory point. So free resource for trashing something. So I could just grab the... No, I can't. I don't have it yet. I can just grab this for 3 victory points. Instead of getting resources. I think I might want to hold off on that. Do I pick 1 resin and a card? I think I'm going to. Drop my squirrel. Drop my squirrel. What? I got a resin refinery, and I gain a resin if I have... All I need is a stone. I can play something for a berry. I can play this. Do I want another forest? Or, not farm. Do I want another farm? So, I gain 2 wood for each farm in my city. What was the one that was like, hey, if you have a lot of wood... There's none. Okay, that kind of sucks. The previous game, the tutorial, had a bunch where it was focused on wood. But not so this time. So I don't know if there's necessarily any benefit in doing this. Not when I can hold off, try and get a stone so I can build a resin refinery. No. I don't want to pay a berry to give up. I can't play him. I can technically play him, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to play that either. Yes, we're not going to play the farm. We're not spending our resources that way. 2 meadow cards to draw for summer. The clock tower? Place 3 victory points here. At the beginning of preparing for season, you can play a victory point. Deactivate 1 of the basic or forest locations where you have a worker deployed. And this is the case where exactly in the order of things are we for drawing for summer? Are we still in the... No, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. I'm gonna do this, because getting to play a card for free is really good. And... a storehouse wouldn't be bad either. Because I have so much wood. Or I will have a lot more wood in the future. Harvest Festival? Fuck. You took the one I was working on. I should have done it earlier. Hi, Uncle Vid. Yeah. Hi, Uncle Vidian. Just hearing the gnome and just kind of went, That gets my attention now. Hearing that. There's multiple farms. Okay. It's not something I need to worry about. We have 4, and what I need is something that hasn't shown up on the board. If I need to diversify away from the greens. I play a lookout. That's expensive. This is expensive. Resin refinery would be nice. Oh, I can play the chip sweep for free if I do this. All I need is a stone, which is expensive. There's no other way for me to get a stone, right? There's no other way to get a stone. There's no other way to get a stone right now for me, aside from doing that. That sucks. This is wasteful. This sucks. Gnomes. I don't know why I thought on Saturday that the gnomes wouldn't scare me. Scare me in a jump scary way. Not that it was really a jump scare, but shocking. If I do this, I get to play the chip suite for free. And again, I'm just, I say I can't do green cards anymore. And here I am making green cards. I actually guess I don't need to focus on these guys, but it's still a good idea to complete them. Yes, we're gonna play them for free. We get to activate one in the city. Which one do we activate? Gaining wood for each farm. This gets us 4 wood, but we don't have a way of converting wood into something else, aside from the wood carver, who's in the green. This kind of sucks. Okay. Yeah, who would guess? Things that go bump in the night scare other things in the night. Who would have guessed? I do want to play Yomawari Night Alone 2, but maybe next, like, fall. Maybe next fall. Thematic things. But then again, here's the dead of winter. Not dead of winter. It's January. I'm playing a like beautiful forest game. I would like to try and keep some things to like a bit of a seasonal theme, but board games kind of exist outside that cycle, just a little bit. Almost like Dead of Winter. Dead of Winter is fun to play in winter, but that I don't think there's a digital version of that. I don't think there's a digital version of Dead of Winter officially. Is there? Yeah, but there's board games that fit different types of things. Like there's a slasher horror Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse is like a fall. It's a October sort of game. That's the only time I feel the need to play it. October. Dead of Winter, another one that, you know, it's a bit more fun to play in winter. It's thematic. Yeah, Tabletop Sim is good too. It's just that there would be no option for a single player game, but then again, it's also Dead of Winter. I don't really know if it would be possible to build a single player version of it. You know. Viticulture is probably better served for like September, for harvest season. September, October. Thank you for the follow, not Yumashin. Not actually played Frostpunk. I've not played Frostpunk. Actually, I'm thinking... Okay, so another one that is seasonal... I guess spring is the hard season to fit. But you could still slap viticulture in there, I guess. I guess Wingspan could also work. But Wingspan's also just any season. One that I think that is very good for... Not very good. For summer, there is Doki Doki. Is it Doki Doki Volleyball? There is basically a 2-player game for Tanto Cuore. Or, I don't say for Tanto Cuore, but as an aside to Tanto Cuore, basically you're playing volleyball. It's a trick-taking game. And because it's beach volleyball with maids, it's summer. It's summer. And I guess there's also Tanto Cuore. There's the Winter Butler game expansion. That could be winter. And then you have the summer... No, not summer vacation. Just regular vacation. Tropical vacation? That's not the name of it exactly. There is a vacation version of... Vacation expansion to Tanto that would also be good for summer. Blech. Okay. I have to talk. Back to game. 1 hour. I said it wasn't going to take that long. I am in summer. I have 3 turns left. I'm like halfway through. Maids for every season. I don't think they have a fall and a spring. They do. Wait, they do have fall. They have Oktoberfest. They have Oktoberfest expansion. I don't know how to play Oktoberfest. I don't know how to play with a beer. But I also don't. I have all the expansions as far as I know, physically, not digitally yet. Yeah, there's no spring exactly, unless you count expanding the house. But it's not explicitly spring. It just would just happen to maybe fit in that by process of elimination. Queen. Play a card worth up to 3 for free. Actually, that might be worth it for the Undertaker. And this guy is discarding. Okay. I think I might actually use the Queen then to play the Cemetery. Oh, I need to choose a production card. I need to choose a production card first. It is a very pretty game. It's well made. Aside from like one tiny issue I have with trying to put the squirrel in the right spot. Like a tiny bit of aggravation there. It's not even aggravation. Would I recommend the game for beginners? Depends on how beginner. If you're trying to play with like a teenager, it would work. If you're trying to play with someone young, not so much. Annoyance is good. I would say the Direwolf games are probably pretty good for first-time players because it is pretty. It's well made. It doesn't have a lot of errors as far as I can see. And I think it is something that would be worthwhile to like buy and play with other people if you have other digital people who own the same game, like digital copies. Okay, water, tea first. I think it's a lot easier to learn than Root, at least. Like, Root is fun, but not for beginners. This is a lot easier to deal with, especially because actually this is pretty good for beginners also. And some definition of beginner because of the fact that you have the shared meadow. I would say probably easier ones would be something like Betrayal because it is a co-op, at least up to a certain point. Like co-ops like that are easier. And also Betrayal was one of the earlier ones that I played. It was kind of addicting. I think the first time I played, I watched some other people play it. I got intrigued watching them play it, and then I got to play, I think, two or three sessions, and there were no repeats because of the very nature of it. But this one's on me. It's still PvP. You're working against other players, but you can still kind of do your own thing, depending on how aggressive the other players are. If you're like me and looking at like, I'm gonna snipe the queen. I'm gonna take the queen's shit. Okay, stretch. Can I crack anything? That sounded nice. I'm trying to think. There are some. Everything is money. Everything comes down to money because it's kind of. Is there a free tabletop? I guess there are some tabletop game systems that are free that this might exist on, but it might also be a premium game. I'm not certain. I was able to try out a few things for free on, I think, Tabletopia and stuff. I didn't get to do head rolls. watching the model freak out. Okay. I plan. Production card. Farm? Or do I get 4 wood? Or do I get 1 resin? I can convert wood into something useful. If I can convert wood into something useful. I think I am actually going to just get the resin. Yeah, finding people to play with in real life can be a bit difficult. I do have a group that I play with. But we run into the issue of everyone brings their own games, and we do take turns playing different games. We do try out a lot of new things. It's more so everyone's going through their own Kickstarters and buying stuff, and we don't have time necessarily to play them all together. So we might play maybe like one game once to learn it, and then once or twice to play it more properly, knowing all the rules. And then that will be it, because someone else's Kickstarter has come in. Let's see. Post office. Give an opponent 2 cards and discard any number of cards and just draw up to your hand size limit. Okay. Okay. I feel like I should be trying to work on something that actually exists. Oh, I do have the chip sweep and the clock tower, actually. Do I have a clock tower? No, I don't. I don't have a clock. There is a clock tower. There is a clock tower here. And it works with the queen. It's also 3 wood and 1 stone, so all I need is 1 stone. But at the same time, I need to acquire that stone and hope that the clock tower is still on the board, because I don't think anyone else has a clock tower. So I think I'm just gonna put down for the queen. Play a card. So it's not play a card from my hands or play a card from the meadow. Does it matter where the card comes from? This is very important. This is so important. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna find out. Can I not put him there? Is she closed? She's closed. Shit. She's closed. Fuck. I forgot about that. So I'm used to playing with inns, which are open, which means anyone can drop their thing down, but the queen is closed. Only the person who owns the queen can use her ability. I kind of forgot about that. Virtual board games, I want to say also, there are a lot of games that have great single-player versions, and there are some that don't have great single-player versions. Like Mysterium would be great to play with other people, but not single-player. I heard the AI is not very smart. And really, it's a game that thrives on personal interaction and knowing the other players, so I don't know how much an AI would be able to replicate that, even at its best. Unless they take, like, AI chatbot stuff nowadays. Like, maybe then that could work. Set up a bunch of AI chatbots against each other in Mysterium. That could be fun, actually. I wonder if that would work. Give me a second, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that down. Is that even possible? That could be something. I've not interacted with much an AI VTuber. When you say AI VTuber, what do you mean? Like, speaking-wise and art-wise and everything, it's AI? I know that people are VTubing with... Oh, there's a literal AI chatbot VTuber? I doesn't count, though. Like, he's not... I doesn't count. She isn't a chatbot, right? Because there was actually someone behind the character. Unless there have been more... have there been changes? I'm not up to date on all the VTubers, honestly. Was there a change? Does she not have an actual actress behind her now? Is she basically a Vocaloid with an AI brain? Oh, I don't know Nuro-chan. I haven't heard of her. Is she on YouTube? I'm assuming it's a she with the last name, not last name, with the honorific Chan. Okay. Farm, post office. I need stone. I need stone. I mean, isn't that not that much worse than some of the other chatbots I've been made in the past? I feel like there was one maybe a decade ago, and they had to pull the plug real quick because people were teaching her really bad things. And stone's already taken. I can't pick up a stone. I can't pick up a stone. This sucks. Unless no one has... Yeah, there's nothing to be done here. This sucks. Thank you for the follow, Heroic Logic. Do I need the stone. There's no way for me to get the stone. Unless I can copy, and I can't copy. This is a fucked game. I'm second, but the margin is really big. All because he got one of the things. He's the one who picked up the event. Event's not the right word. I guess it is an event, like a basic event. I need a twig barge. What if I just trash my hand? I could trash my hands. It's not the best hands. I hate like half of it. If I just trash my hands. If I just trash my hands. I'm convincing myself that trashing my hand is the worthwhile thing to do. So, 2, 6. We're gonna trash a bunch of cards and hope that we get something better. We're gonna trash the doctor, the monk. The ranger is fine. This could be good depending. Look out. This gets me 4 cards. Hand size limit of 8. Wait. It was a case of... Let me just double check. 2 for each discard. Okay. So this gets me 4 cards. And hand size limit 8. Hand size limit 8, right? We got an Undertaker! We got an Undertaker! I still need stone! We got an Undertaker. Courthouse. Gain stuff after playing construction. And the mine. We need a stone to get a stone though. And the same here. This Twitch chat can be coordinated to teach an AI bad stuff as Twitter could. It wasn't Twitter back in the day though. It wasn't Twitter, I don't think. It was simply a chat bot that was, maybe it was through AOL, AIM or something like that, AIM. I don't 100% remember. I know that there were a couple other chat bots you could talk to. And there was some Smarter Child. Smarter Child was one of them, but I don't really think it learned anything. It was just something to interact with, to try and trick. 2 more left in summer. I need stone so badly. Give me stone. And I need stone to get stone. And there's no way for me to get stone. God, why does stone have to be so fucking hard to get? I'm stuck a little bit here. These are closed. These are all closed. Yeah, I'm processing because it shouldn't be this hard. All I want is a goddamn stone and oh, you know what? It's my own fucking people blocking it. Fuck. No wonder. That was really dumb of me to not notice that it was my own squirrel blocking me. Ugh. Have a good night, Remove. I need to also practice before the night ends. There's nothing to do. This really sucks. I hate this so much. I can't even like spend a turn doing certain things because I guess I could no, I can play an Undertaker. It kind of sucks though because I can play the Undertaker for free if I can get the cemetery out first, but I can't get the cemetery out first. Unless I happen to luck in to find something that will let me play some things. Oh, fuck it. I'll just do this. Oh, let me drop my squirrel. So that's one more thing gone. This is not looking good. This is not looking great. Oh, now there's a public Undertaker too. I have nothing that lets me even convert. There's nothing that lets me convert. That's really one of the things that I'm missing. If I play this guy though, actually, I can move. Okay. It's not cheating. We're going to move him. Where are we gonna move him? What do we want? I'm a dumbass. I didn't even look at this. We're gonna do this. This is a basic location. We're gonna copy that. And then we're going to get another stone, and that's gonna let us play the cemetery. So there's a fairgrounds and a resin refinery. Okay. Now we're gonna play the cemetery. And then we're gonna play the Undertaker. This is up to 4 players, I believe. Maybe there are expansions that allow you to play more, but I could be wrong. At least a digital copy only lets you play 4. In terms of AI, it might be a case of there's AI limitations. Okay, we're gonna do this for free. We're gonna choose 3 to replace. We are going to... Who do we trash? What do we trash? I didn't play the mine. I didn't even think about it. Looking at other people's materials. They're all still in summer as well. Undertaker. Is there someone else who's going to be grabbing out the Undertaker Barge Toad real quick? The Barge Toad. They have an Undertaker. They're going to be grabbing it next. They don't have anything like that. They have a judge. But there's no judge. So I may have lost the Undertaker Barge Toad. Next option is Ship Sweep Clock Tower. Do I have a resin refinery? I may have... Okay, I do. I already played a chip sweep for it. I feel like I'm gonna trash him. I don't want him around. Actually, no. I have to make choices. We're gonna get rid of him too. And we're going to get rid of... the Fool generating thing. We're gonna do this. It may not be the best option, we'll see. One card to draw. I do this, I won't have any stones to play it right away. Which is really a problem, actually. It's a very minor problem, but it's still a problem. I don't think I'll have the stuff for it. I won't. So it's the wood carver? I don't have a wood carver. Oh, I do. From the supply. We're gonna take this. It's expensive though, but it's still kind of a twofer. I'm not looking at points, and that's a bad thing, because 34 versus 17. Play a card. Do I have a card I can play? I can play this, and then a Gatherer. 2 and 1. I can have so much food. I'm a little glad I tossed the fairgrounds now. Okay. There's another farm. It's just chaining farms. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this. Played for free. This. I need this. I need the ruin. This. I need this. Do we have ruins? The ruins discard a construction from your city. Gain resources equal to that construction's cost and draw 2. So if is there anything I want to trash? Is there anything I want to trash in terms of that? Also, I have 2 of these guys. I just need 1 more. I need 1 more. If I do this, it will get me the peddler for free. I just need to destroy 1 thing. Is there anything in particular that would be a good thing to destroy? It cost me so much money. This is a construction. I don't know if there's anything I actually really want to destroy. It's a shame. It's a shame! I get rid of all the farms? I don't want to get rid of this. Part of it is that I've invested so much in some of these. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to replace this. Actually, wait, he's got something in him. I'm gonna choose this one because this shows that there's a critter in there. This one does not have a critter in it. So I'm gonna replace that farm. And then I'm gonna try and grab the peddler. It's gonna occupy. And we're gonna exchange wood. Oh, for stone. Because, man, stone is hard to get. Oh shit, they sniped that one too. There's no basic ones for me to grab. Is there anything else I want to play before activate a thing in the city? Place a bunch of stuff down. Storehouse wood carver. 111. I could place this down. And then take all the resources. And then place the wood carver down. This is way late. That guy's way late. Okay, I'm gonna do a storehouse. What was the exact wording on the storehouse? Where's the storehouse? Where did the storehouse go exactly? It's 3 wood, 2 resin, a stone from the supply. It feels weird to just be constantly grabbing stone, but here I am. I'm gonna be grabbing stone. It's only 1. But actually, if I take wood, that's useful too, but I think I'm gonna end up with a lot of wood still. I probably should have taken the wood now that I'm looking at it. Do I have to play them in the same season for me to get the benefit of this linkage? I feel like I do. So when I play this guy, he's gonna cost me nothing, but at the same time, I am going to end up with just 1 point from him. I'm gonna do that for free. I only have 1 wood to use, but it's still 1 point. And I haven't even finished autumn. I haven't even started autumn. 53 fucking points. I'm, yeah, falling way behind. Now wait, I can play the fool. I can play the fool on someone else. I don't know if I want to right now, though. I'm not playing any guards. Journey locations have been unlocked for use. Journeys allow players to convert unwanted cards in hand to victory points. Okay. More importantly, though, I'm going to be grabbing special events. Which... a production card to activate? Only 1? Equal amounts of other things. Ah, this isn't the point. This is the point. 6 points for that. Bring back a deployed worker. Select the 2 critters from your city beneath this event. Or... do these guys count as that? So I get 3 wood? Or I can get 3 points. 3 points isn't worth a whole lot. I'm just... oh, I only get to choose the one, the harvester. Because it has to be a production card. Okay. Pay up to 2, pay up to 3. I have 6 wood. That gets me 3 points. Again, just small, tiny. Versus if I build up more stone, I can afford cooler shit. as long as I have shit to get out, I'm going to do this instead. I'm gonna grab a stone. Look, stone's hard to get. A production card? Oh, it's a turn-based, I guess? Okay. So we get to activate one green location in the city. We're gonna go through this one then. Yep. Activate one of them again in the city. 7 berries though. For each of our unused resin and stone, up to a maximum of 6. But he doesn't consume them, does he? That is the question I would be asking myself. Draw 2, keep 1, and give the other to an opponent. What is it university? Teacher university, okay. Courthouse ranger. Otherwise, chip sweep clock tower. Clock tower takes 3 wood and a stone. Okay. We're actually going to convert some berries into stone. We're going to convert it into stone. Stone is hard to get. And chip sweep is the last one, where we get to reach farm in the city. And we have how many farms? We only have 2 farms again. Versus getting more points. Only 3 more points? Only 3 more points. And having no wood at the end of it. Gaining a single resin, gaining a little bit of food. I think getting wood is probably the best option. Getting wood is probably the best option. But I also haven't done anything in this season yet. So I have time to catch up. Place a worker or play a card. So I have 7 wood, 3. So I could theoretically afford the Everdell tree if I had it and had a spot. If it would appear on the board, which who knows if it will. What I should really do though is do this one. Discard 2 from the city. I suppose it's a case of... I think... I'm going to play here. Choose a pile to reveal. If I do this... What was it? Oh. Is he scrambling back up? I wanted to check from the deck or discard. It's more of a case of I don't know what the last 4 cards in the discard were, and I also don't know how many expensive cards are left. So we're gonna try. No. That wasn't the point. Fuck. There's no undo, is there? Fuck. I didn't mean to do that. That sucks. I wanted to drop it back on there. I'm gonna drop it here now. There's 11 cards in here. We're gonna draw 4. Choose a card to play for free. What does the X mean in this case? There's one more card. The theater. Courthouse. Wanderer. Do I have too many cards or something? Why are they all X'd out? General store. This one with 1. Okay. Was there any of these that were associated? Wait, school? No, lookout. Bard. I don't think... Judge was associated with something. So many berries. I can't actually do this because... I fucked up really bad. All my slots are taken. I can't actually choose any of these for free. This sucks. That was a waste. This is a bad game for me. I did not do this correctly at all. And there's no way for me to trash things. So this is what I was saying with the end game, where slots are important. Slots are important. Oh, this is bad. I can't actually play any new cards. I can only... There's no way for me to discard, right? This is a lost game. This is a lost game for me. There's no way I'm catching up. There's no way I'm catching up. The best thing I could probably do would be slotting a fool in somewhere at the stage. Turtle! He has the most. Thank you for the follows. Oh, I also missed Heroic Logic with the follow from earlier. And thank you for the follow. I only follow bottoms. I'll have some water. I'm nearing the end of this game. I am doing really poorly. This is not a good game for me right now. I misplayed it horrifically. On multiple fronts. On multiple fronts. Wish I could trash things here. There's no way for me to do that, I don't think. Yeah, there's no way for me to do that. Thank you, little guy. Worker steers here permanently. Chip sweep. After playing this, yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. Actually, yeah, I don't even have any basic events to grab because they're all gone. They're all gone. Nothing to play. I can get the resources from there. I don't really think it's worth anything to have extra resources at the end. That's something for me to learn, I suppose, when I finish the game. If it's one of the few moves I can take. Gain wood, gain stuff. Activate a thing. Gain. Swap resources. If I could replay this, it would be worthwhile, but I don't know if I have a way to replay it. I don't think there's a way for me to replay it. No. No, there isn't. Unless... Gain a victory. Wait. Nope. Basic location, nope. Nope. Yeah, I'm fucked. I get victory points for doing this, right? let me... Discard a card. Okay, so if I discard 2 cards, it gets me 2 points. I am scrounging for points. Let's discard this guy and this guy. Oh. Oh, posture check. Okay. Now it's better. It's better. Posture's better this time. No more slouching. Thank you. You gave me a card that I didn't need. 30 points to 70. This is bad. It's a learning experience. It's a learning experience. Wait, I can replay myself on here? Huh, interesting. The other option is, what is this? Gaining a point and drawing 2. Take all resources. There's nothing open over here, right? Yeah, no one's got anything open over there. This can't hurt. Yeah, everyone's just trashing cards for points at the ends here. Okay. Let me drop the dude. Get rid of the mine, we'll look out, and then we just have, what, one more after this, and we discard 2 cards. Discard this and this. This is really poor. I did not complete a single event. And I filled up my town with junk. Learning experience. By far. Claim events early before other people claim them for you. Claim events early before other people claim them on you. Oh well. I learned something very important today. The peaceful game seems a bit harder to me than Root does. I suppose part of it is the whole thing with Root, where you're aiming for victory points, but the manner that you have, there's only really one manner that you can choose to do that. Only one means you can do that by for your specific faction, versus here where you can earn points by doing X, Y, or Z. There's a bunch of different options, and I kind of scattered and thought I could hold off, except I couldn't because other players were vying for those very same methods. I need to focus a bit more. I need to focus a bit more. Blech. Lesson learned. But it's fun. I do want to play it again. I might bust this out next Tuesday to get a rematch against the AI, or I might actually do a challenge mode, but I think I'd want to get an actual win against a medium AI before I start doing challenges. Hello, OG Panda Turtle. How are you doing? I'm just about to end, I think, for the night. I didn't mean to spend so long on the final game. It was a lot of me just kind of crying at the end, realizing that there's no way I'm gonna beat it. But you can't win them all. You can't win them all. Yeah, the badge. Yeah, the art is really cool for this whole thing. It's beautiful, and the slight use of 3D models is neat too, and they fit the style as well. Is there anyone else who's currently playing board games? I don't honestly think so. Let me see. Or any other VTuber playing board games. Board games. Board games. No, there's one other channel playing board games and they're not Beat Supers. Is there anyone? I don't really know anyone else who's on at this hour aside from Callie. So why don't we go see? She's playing Fear and Hunger? I don't know what that is. But she's a fun lady. She's a fun lady. So we'll go say hi to her. Thank you very much for joining me tonight through my terrible. Do not trust me with architecting buildings, cities. Don't. Lesson learned. Tomorrow I'm going to be continuing The Witcher: Blood and Wine. And Saturday, I'm going to be continuing Puzzle Agents, and I'm going to try and make sure this time that my mic is actually going to capture my screams of terror. Apparently the noise gate was eating them last time. They were too sharp and pointed and loud to be caught. And Sunday, instead of reading a murder mystery, we're going to be going back to reading about the monsters of Dungeon World. And after going through each different type of terrain for those monsters, I'm going to be slotting them into a tier list of how cool and fun they seem. I do have the tier list available for the previous, I think, 3 areas that we covered. But there's, I think, 7 areas to cover in all. I may have only covered 2. I'm not certain. I'll have to go back and check. I still have the file, so everything's good. Violent game with 2 stuff. Well, it still has a category, right, on Twitch, so it's probably fine. She's an experienced streamer. She's been around for a while. She had a 1-year anniversary not recently, but in the past few months, right? It'll be fine. I'm like, you won't hear my scream. Bye!